movie. You guys remember that line? Oh, we're live.
And we're live.
Hey, what up?
How's it going, guys?
It's going, man. You look good, Maddie. It looks like you maybe caught up on some sleep after the crazy week you had the previous week.
No.
No?
I drove 14 hours yesterday, and over half of the time was spent on Twitter Spaces listening to the people.
Wow. So this is just it's like this, the recuperative power of being in your 30s. Is that what we're witnessing?
I mean,
pretty nice.
Oh,
I do have with the stickers. The sticker stays on.
There you go. Right on.
That's what they say. That's what Ansem says about the hat. The hat stays on.
There you go.
But if he's talking about dog whiff hat, then that doesn't stay on because it's on Solana, and Solana goes down all the time.
But
I got a name for a coin. How about YouTuber with hat?
Yeah.
There you go. Streamer with hat.
ChrispyMan.
How about Briz with ass?
Oh, what?
You could do, it was a dick with butt. You could do like a dick with
Toby with lawn. It's a big hit with the Koreans, I'll tell you.
Christopher in the chat. Fox Mulder. What's up, fellas? Good to see you as always.
Pretty crazy last couple of days, huh, guys? The whole Ethereum ETF approval, getting percentages closer to approval.
The suspected suddenly imminent possible approval of the Ethereum ETF.
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
So it went from a 15 to 25% chance of approval this Thursday, the 23rd, for Van Eck, the Van Eck application. Because of course there's many investment banks that are applying, and they stagger their applications so that the market can, get a better sense of what the SEC wants.
Well, we're looking pretty good.
Well, the odds skyrocketed to 75% yesterday and the day before of approval this Thursday because of a number of factors, but basically one of the data points was the SEC was asking for expedited updated paperwork from all the applicants.
Yeah,
and we do that if approval is imminent.
They don't need no paperwork.
Second of all,
trying to be mean.
We may be at a historical turning point in crypto because there was a Senate bill introduced. Now, somebody can correct me if they know better than I do, but I believe it is the Senate that basically has power over the SEC. And so that's why it was the Senate that voted to repeal one of the powers of the SEC.
But it's an HR, right? It's a House resolution, so it doesn't have to go through the House first and then over to the Senate. Because if you're talking about what Nuclear Herbs posted, that was an HR.
Basically, I'm told that the president has 10 days to veto whatever's in front of him, and basically because this doesn't have to be a law necessarily. But then again, I've been traveling for 14 hours, so I haven't read the latest. I've just listened to the Bankless podcast and all these different credible sources. So, but at the end of the day, the bigger point remains that 20% of voters in swing states have owned crypto, and crypto may have now become such an important issue for the 2024 election that all of a sudden the current administration is going to change their stance. And they're going to call the dogs off. They're going to stop the SEC overreach one way or another. You saw out of the politicians that voted, of course, the Republicans voted for crypto to repeal the power of the SEC to regulate crypto. And of the Democrats, it was only the youngest ones that voted. They broke the party line and they voted for crypto. And so only the old Democrats are the ones who are still voting against crypto. And this may be, like I said, this may be a turning point in the history of crypto. And wouldn't you know it, Satoshi Nakamoto, in all of his brilliance, he programmed the 4-year cycle to coincide with the election cycle. And so we might have just seen something that was set into motion back in 2009 taking place now with, they fight you and now you win because the election is on the line.
So you're talking about a 1,000-year plan. Gotcha.
Well, at least until 2140 when the last Bitcoin is mined.
I think crypto's always been the plan. Why do you guys think there's such a hard divide between the two political spheres amongst crypto? Like, why is one camp so much for it and the other side not very much for it?
I don't know that that's true, Bruce. I don't know that that's true. Yeah, because I think it has more. Maybe what you're describing is what we see on the surface, what they think they want for talking points. I got to tell you, in our community, I think we're split right down the middle. Toby?
Yeah, I mean, we covered this the last couple of weeks. It's like, and weeks before when I was talking about how Vivek Ramaswamy was pro-crypto, that was getting a lot of traction, how that was going to get adopted into Trump's platform. We watched it happen. Now that Trump, obviously, there's been some blurbs out there about him being pro-crypto. They're waking up and smelling the coffee. All right. So the politicians are going to go where they can get the votes. So they see that crypto is a significant voting block now. They're going to pander to those voters. The question remains, who's really going to get the ball across the finish line for us, the Democrats or the Republicans? And I don't know how much faith I have in either, because if you've been around long enough and you've been participated in enough elections, and I've been voting for 32 years, they tell you what they have to tell you to get your vote. And then once they get in there, they do what the fuck they want. So the question is, do you think the current administration with this quick swivel is really your buddy? Or do you think it's time to come in and clean house and see if some people that are really for freedom of speech, not the woke libtards, pardon my French, and want to actually focus on the things that we hold dear in the DeFi philosophy, right? I would love to have one of you guys pull up Nuclear Herb's tweet about this, because I think it's huge. Also, I maybe have to go back and watch the Schoolhouse Rock thing of "I'm just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill," because
but it's not a wad that's being created. They're repealing a power of the SEC.
Yeah, but here's the tweet that he's commenting about, and then if you've got other sources, I'm happy to look at them. It says 2 massive U.S. acts will be introduced into the U.S. government next week for voting, and then what they show.
Separate. That's a different thing. That's the FIT Act.
Yeah, so they're showing HR House resolution.
Different. That's something different.
Okay, so we're talking about
what's already there's already been a vote, and what the vote did is it revealed where the party lines were. And I bet you now this hasn't been confirmed yet, but I'm a few steps ahead of the rest of the crypto media. I bet it's not only the young Democrats that are the ones voting for crypto on record now, but it's the ones that have an election coming up. Remember, because they're only getting elected every 6 years on a cycle. So every 2 years you have a different group getting elected. The bottom line though is this is a really big deal because the banks now own Bitcoin. And remember, the banks are the ones that pull the strings on the government in the first place. So that's a big deal. The politicians, they can go back and forth, but it's the banks that are out there buying our ETH bags that are the ones that are going to push this forward past just the election time. But this is something that's happening this week. This week, there are multiple political actions happening to try to change the outcome of the election. And I would go so far as to speculate that there may be AI that has told the politicians that they have to respect crypto. I believe that there's there is 20%. That sounds about right. About 20% of people in the United States have ever owned crypto.
Sorry, man. I just had an idea. I was just thinking of the future where AI starts whispering in the politicians' ears on what to do, and then
this has been going on for a long time.
AI, they changed their mind because of AI. AI made them do it.
I mean, like, if you're not aware that AI like informs like what they talk about and like what their agenda is and what their talking points are, like that's been going on since before ChatGPT. So yeah, I mean, like they even use AI to like gerrymander which district, like even who's voting for them. So it's that's been a long time thing. That's nothing new. But what I'm saying is that it's like the actual efforts of Coinbase and Bitcoin and Ethereum and, true DeFi like Hex and PulseChain, like all of these groups do now have power because enough people have tried crypto and don't think that the government should be screwing it over.
I've had an idea because I'm a Californian. And so I have a lot of socialist friends, and most of them hate Bitcoin and crypto. And the way I think most of the socialist type minded people look at it is they think of it as like a tax laundering, thing, a way to or a tax evasion thing. And I think most people that fall along that party lines, they kind of they're very pro tax, and so they just look at it as a way of evading taxes or something. So they just think of it as something bad. But I think they're now kind of maybe coming around to it.
Yeah, I think that's a broad generalization.
Oh yeah,
but I get you. I mean, I see a lot of people like that. Just generally in life, listen, I can do talking points for both sides of the spectrum, but generally in life, the more taxes you pay, the less you like them. So, it's just one of those things with reality, right? You finally make it and you realize, oh shoot, guess I'm not part of the rarefied group that doesn't pay taxes. I'm the one that gets to pay 40%.
Yeah, you're the one that gets to pay for everything.
The 36% or the 32%, whatever it is, But yeah.
So does anyone have links to what Maddie's talking about exactly? Because the thing is like I could prattle on about all this shit all day long. It's like we're talking heads after all. It's kind of what we do. But I like actionable things. So like for example, the House resolution stuff that Nuclear Herbs was talking about. You can figure out who your congressperson is, and you can email them or call them and tell them, hey, HR 4451, HR whichever. Is the other one that you would want them to vote in favor of these things, right? So
dude,
that's
I have the link. I have literally the link to your representative on tap, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, good man.
Are you kidding me?
We'll drop a link to where other people can find it.
I'm gonna have it in like 3 seconds. Beautiful.
I've got it on that feed, on that Twitter thread. I posted it in Nuclear Herbs thread as well. house.gov/representatives/find-your-representative.
Toby, I just want to say Maddie's not wrong.
No. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying there's two things going on, and I just want some clarification on like which one, so we know where to go. Like if there's something happening in the Senate, I don't want to call my congressman about it because then I show what a moron I am as far as houses of government, right? So it's like if it's my senator, I want to contact my senator and say, hey, here's the thing I'd like you to vote for. This is my opinion. If it's Congress, hey, congressman, I would like this and this and this, right? So I feel like if we can direct people in the right direction for both things, because it sounds like both are very important and very similar, would be good.
Yeah. I want to know too.
Right.
Also, I think the government created Bitcoin and cryptos in general. And so I think having Bitcoin get this far has always been the plan for like the last 14, 15, maybe even 20 years. Maybe they planned this out from 20 years and beyond. but the government can't just launch Bitcoin and then expect everyone to jump on board, because everyone's gonna be like, I ain't buying that government created thing. But if I thought it was made in the garage of some dude and it was grassroots, then I'd be more likely to get into it. And then they got to trick us by making them think that they don't want it. So they get politicians to attack it. They get the SEC to attack it. And then guess what? It just magically proliferates throughout the entire, so it wins. And then people go, isn't that a government sponsored thing? They go, no. Look, the SEC tried to attack it. These politicians tried to attack it. There's no way this was a government created thing. But I think it was created by the government.
Hey, Maddie, can you click that link that's in the Coinbase post? Because I like what you can't. Okay,
dude, clicking links is a bad idea.
Okay, can you type it in? Can you go to standwithcrypto.org?
Dude, I don't know if that's gonna like dox me. So no, I'm not gonna do that on stream. Like, I don't. It could pop up my Coinbase account and be like, here's your email preloaded in there with like your government name and like the account to hack your iCloud and stuff. Like, I'm telling you, dude, I'm not clicking the link.
Okay, I'm telling you it's not. Okay, well, everyone else should go click the link because it doesn't do what Maddie's saying it does. Because it's not a Coinbase link. It's standwithcrypto.org/action/call. And it tells you what you can do to encourage your representatives to vote on these crucial bipartisan acts.
Clicking links on stream is like doing math on stream. You just don't do it. You just don't do it.
I can do math on stream. I just don't. Oh
yeah, it was 42 times 90.
It's not a Coinbase link. It's not a Coinbase link.
Yeah, exactly, Maddie.
8,000 something.
Oh, come on.
It's not. You look like a total idiot now. I told you not to do that.
I'm wearing a Bucky's shirt with this sticker on.
Look, 3,780 isn't.
What do you want? Wait, what's the number? Was I close?
Yeah, 3,780.
All right. Well, look. You guys can roast me all you want for me and not clicking a Coinbase link on stream.
It's not a Coinbase
link.
Sharing
my screen.
It's not a Coinbase.
It's posted by Coinbase.
Maddie, Toby.
Please.
Base of coins.
All right, I'm going to drop it in the chat. If anyone wants to read along, they're welcome to go and check it out. But basically, it's the link that Coinbase shared on their Twitter in regard to this thing that we've been talking about. And in brief, it says it's time to fight to keep crypto in America. Call your rep and ask them to vote yes on FIT 21 Act. Here's what you need to know. Congress is voting on a crucial bipartisan act that will help protect consumers. It won't pass without your help. Calling your member of Congress is the most effective action you can take. And then if you continue, you can enter your address and start typing in your personal details to participate in that way. Or you can just go to the previous link that I dropped, which is how to find your representative, call that representative and tell them the same thing. That you would like to do it. Yes, right. Yep. So I've actually already done these things, but I was hoping to encourage others to do the same.
Yeah.
Not financial advice, just good advice for the future of our country. In my humble opinion.
And my humble opinion is going to get passed no matter what. This is what they want. They're trying to use it to control us.
Should you change your name to Brisology?
Oh, dude, that might be my new screen name.
There it is. This boy has got the conspiracies on tap. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Brisology is a bad brand name because it replaces like con with like Briz, so it's makes you sound like a con.
You know what? You're totally right.
It could that also could be Briz piracy. And that's not necessarily good either.
Richard Hart already taught us about branding. The first step is to make your name the same on everything, and that's your handle too. Okay.
Yeah, like Nerd,
if
like
people,
Nerd Girl.
if people can
like
do that,
one is. Like any, what is it?
Nerd Girl, no vowels, 007. That she won that debate. That's the only debate Richard has ever lost.
Right. That's why I brought it up.
I'm glad. Shout out to Nerd Girl 007, no vowels.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because he was really coming down on her, and she.
And you know what? Her handle is the same as her screen name because she knows what's up.
She knows.
Good job, Nerd Girl.
Good job. Well played.
How about that Ethereum price, huh, guys? Almost back up at 4,000. Is that like 37 or something?
Well, before we go there, which like, yeah, that's hot news. That's hot news. But everybody already knows about the Ethereum price. What everybody doesn't know about is, here's a little teaser. We don't have like all the details loaded in yet, but Future Us, the developer who's brought you like Go tshare.app, timepays.me, so on and so forth, believes that he has found a way to solve the basically the S-load problem on Hex.
Really?
Which, yeah, this is something I've been talking to him about for like multiple years, but now he's like written the code. So, there's apparently a way to like.
That would be groundbreaking for sure.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's something like that has been wanted for a long time, and
like it can fix future stakes on Hex.
Current. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be. It'd be like a very similar system. But I mean, the implementation is different than just the basically the way to keep track of the yield. Keeping track of the yield is the computer problem that needs to be solved. And then like how you distribute, like, you know, the fairest way to distribute it would be to just give everybody what they already have, right? I mean, and like give no coins to the developers, and for it to be like, you know, and I don't know what he's going to do with it, but it's, you know, he's got it on testnet and he's been posting about it a little bit. So
wow. That sounds amazing. That really does sound truly amazing, because I feel like that's like the weakest part of Hex is that damn S-load and calculating every single day just to get that number. I've always liked the way Texan had done it, where they pre-allocate the entire amount to you in the very beginning, and so it doesn't have to do the daily counts. But
okay, but then it's not based on the same thing as early and staking bonuses and stuff like that. So
correct.
Yeah, this would be basically it's more of a technical implementation of basically calculating the yield along the way, but being more efficient than having to calculate every single day's yield for every single stake. I think he's using some sort of like a accumulation statistic that's written onto the blockchain. But I've had like a family emergency that was resolved today, thankfully, and so I haven't had time to get up to speed on the latest description that he's made here of everything. But I know that he.
I'm just wondering how it gets implemented into Hex if the code is immutable.
Well, how did PulseChain get implemented?
Into Hex?
Yeah. It was an airdrop. Well, it was a fork airdrop situation.
Oh, I see. So
and there wasn't any pre-mine, there wasn't any allocation that was special. It was just you got a copy, you know, and it was on a cheaper chain. So yeah, I mean, like, I would welcome people's feedback, but we still need to you know, really understand like what the solution is from a technical level. I see that Future Us posted under like a Sami video some like information about how it works.
But essentially, like some sort of community support of a layer 2 or something like that?
As far as like, you guys are jumping the gun like way ahead of, which is like, that's what game theory gang is like trying to understand, what would the implementation look like? But at this point, like, I guess all we're announcing, what he's saying in the super chat here too, is I guess that's still pretty cryptic, but the idea here is that he has found a technical solution to the issue where you're calculating every single day.
Chat.
What's that?
I said all will be explained in the chat. These are not the droids you're looking for.
This one does all the math exactly the same, slightly more gas expensive than the super efficient version we spoke about earlier. Okay.
Well, if future us needs an extra coder, I became a coder this week.
What?
Coding with Briz.
I've been hopping on the Chat GPT-O a lot lately.
Just
it's pretty cool, man. like I said, I wanted to make a version of this old school game from like 2001 called Dope Wars. And if anyone hasn't played it, you basically you go around the different neighborhoods of different cities.
This is a family show, Brisology.
Buying drugs at a low cost and then selling them higher in a different neighborhood and making a profit.
Arbitrage, really?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's the first game of arbitrage. And dude, I spent so many hours in high school playing that game. So I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, hey man, I want to make a simple text version of this game. And it's like, oh, this game? Here's the code to do it. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, can you just replace the drugs with cryptos and the neighborhoods with exchanges? And it's like, no problem. And it just started like putting in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin. And it started making up its own prices. And the prices were, not the current prices, but I mean, they kind of reflected the prices a little bit accurately. And it was really cool. So it's just like, dude, this AI stuff is becoming really amazing. And I can't wait to have more fun with it. It's going to blow everyone's mind what we're going to have in the next 5 years. I think we're going to have to see accelerated progress, hyper progress. And the last thing I'll say about it is if anyone hasn't seen the NVIDIA conference from about 2 weeks ago with the CEO, Jensen something, go watch that. That is amazing. It's so cool.
I was going to say, I saw the founder of OpenAI, the most closed company in the world, Sam Altman. He was on the ALLin podcast 2 days before ChatGPT 4-0 launched. And this dude is he's a psychopath. And
in which way?
You might be you might not want to label people publicly.
No, dude,
let's go. Go ahead and hit me with the laser beam, dude.
Dude, that's why. I mean, I'm with Maddie on this. It's like that's what Elon Musk called him out on this forever ago, because I mean, he was basically calling him out for like anticipating a post-humanist world. It's like
Elon Musk is suing Sam Altman, first of all. So Sam has bigger enemies than me, and
Sam's scary as fuck.
Yeah, well, he goes on for like 45 minutes without answering a question. He's talking the whole time. He's pretending to answer questions. And this dude is once I saw Autism Capital, the Twitter account, call him out a couple months ago that he never answers a question, it struck me once I started watching his interviews. So it'll strike you the same way if you listen to what he says. He doesn't say anything. So that's weird and creepy. And then in addition to that, he brought up the idea of instead of universal basic income, he wants to make universal basic AI.
Yeah? Oh.
And he wants AI to be the new currency through which he can control the entire world. And dude, if you can't answer a question, I'm gonna vote no to that.
Yeah, right. A little bit.
I, for one, welcome our new AI overlord.
Brisology.
I was
towing the party
one.
line.
I was the good one, Sam. Spare me, please.
Yikes! Yeah, I was just kidding. This was a parody. I actually love Sam Altman.
I don't know. UBI is such a crazy idea. I mean, in theory, in practice, different type of thing. But I don't know what you mean by universal basic AI. Like everybody gets an AI.
No, he wants to like drip AI resources to the entire world and like control, basically have it as the government's paying him.
Isn't that what his website's already doing? Like, can people not use his?
Is this
AI?
a layer 2? I don't know.
It's like he doesn't answer questions, but yeah, he okay. So the funniest thing he ever said was somebody posted under his tweet in the past week and was like, "Hey Sam, how's the orgies?" And he posted underneath that wrong Sam, and then he deleted it like a few minutes later. But the internet remembers.
Yikes.
Of course, Sam Bankman-Fried,
I don't even know what you're talking about. This is a family show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good. Thanks for bringing it back.
Conspiracy. Here, check this out. This AI stuff is getting so crazy. They even got basically they got the robots too, and they're making AI chips for the robots. Like, the robots are coming within our lifetime for sure.
Oh yeah.
And now you go, well, what are all these people gonna do if they don't have jobs? And then if you do some more research, you kind of realize 90% of the world was just given heart defects.
Wow.
There we go, man.
Wow,
we have gone far afield today on game theory.
We're shifting all over the place.
Wasn't that with crypto? Oh yeah.
I think you're a psychopath.
Hey, here's the thing for you. All right, and this is the only thing I'm going to say about it. God bless nuclear herbs. I'm glad that he is on the mend. That poor man had a terrible blood clot in his leg that had to be removed, and it was attributed to not having the vaccine, but actually having COVID. So if it all came from a lab, maybe we're all fucked.
All right. I gotta censor you on that. Seriously, we love nuclear herbs.
Yes,
we're gonna support him every step of the way.
Yes.
But we're not going to comment on Maddie's YouTube that could get banned forever about other things like what you just said. So we're cutting that out. Replay viewers, you're not going to hear that. Tobiwan was out of line.
I'm gonna start the
I keep forgetting that freedom of speech isn't free on YouTube. So it's like, yes, so I got to curb that.
My highlights the dark history of Maddie ALLin streams.
Yeah, a lot of times when I have to moderate chat, they're like, I thought this was freedom of speech. I'm like, this chat box is not America, buddy.
Right.
Do you guys remember back in 2020 whenever Richard Hart made a hand washing video that YouTube removed?
Staking Hex. Yeah.
They removed that video, really?
Yeah, they took his channel away temporarily when he made a video, and he was showing you have to he was showing everybody the exact method to wash your hands the right way.
Fingers,
yeah,
all that. Yeah.
And they took away his channel.
Yeah, some people don't know that though.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's real. It's real. Well, you guys laugh, but it's true, right?
Yep. I thought you were going to refer to when he explained to people in a very direct manner about freedom of speech. Because people were getting on him about, not allowing them to bloviate about whatever on his live streams. And he blasted them for it. Hey, it's yes, it's you have a right to say whatever you want. But in short, there could be consequences for that. And in my world, the consequence is you're blocked or banned or muted or whatever, right? So it's you can say it. I'm not saying you can't say it, but I don't have to tolerate it. So,
yeah. Yeah, free speech doesn't mean people have to listen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I will fight for your right to say whatever nonsense you want to say, but that doesn't mean I got to listen to it.
But Brisology, he was going to school us on the price of Ethereum, which is what people actually care about.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, looks like because of that ETF approval percentage going up, it looks like people are starting to FOMO and back into Ethereum, and I think that's
Ethereum
great.
should be at 7K soon, and I think Bitcoin about 90.
I wanted to get back to 4K, and I'll be a little bit happier. And then after that, everything's just butter.
Dude, 9 days from now, we could be at 90 and 7.
What?
Just like next week.
How much?
You'll know next week if it's going to go in that direction.
Oh, yeah.
And if we have the show next week and we're at like 84K, 85K, and maybe 5K for ETH, it'll keep going for a little bit. It's just playing out like the cycles always have. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Dude, the patterns on the Bitcoin charts, it's like there's a big bull flag that we're on the cusp of breaking out of, and the measured move of that takes us to close to 100K. Big bull flag. But yeah, I mean, it's like technicals are crazy. It's like it would go against the fractal that's been playing out, but it's like it's a possibility, in my opinion, with some super bullish news that we could hit a top around 100 to a 90K. And then we could go sideways for the rest of the year. And then next year we have a shot at Richard's call of 250 for Bitcoin. I think that's not outside the realm. Well, Ethereum's going to follow suit, So I mean, if we get a 7K, like Chris was just saying, if we get 90K on Bitcoin, 7K makes complete sense for Ethereum. We get a pullback, we go sideways. By next year, maybe we get up to 10 to 1. So if we're at 250K on Bitcoin, we're 25K on Ethereum.
Yeah. Well, what would be really cool about this, right? You guys, I'm sure you guys saw the charts, right? You saw that ETH was outperforming Bitcoin. Bitcoin led, but then ETH outperformed. So
when on what time frame did ETH outperform Bitcoin?
Okay, so let me clarify. If we go look at when the breakout occurred against the 350-day moving average, these are the fibs that I look at. Bitcoin broke around 11, 12, and 11 a.m. in the morning, 12 p.m. And then ETH took a couple hours for people to react. Remember, people got to take action, right, to make this stuff happen. So it took a couple hours for them to react. By 3 o'clock, ETH made a much bigger candle. And we can go, maybe Toby can measure the percentages. I don't have it up. But it made a much bigger candle and a lot more progress to the next level of support.
Yeah, it was like 18%. And we wiped out like 9 weeks of losses on Ethereum in a single candle.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. But that was so something like this could cause rotation into alts, right? For an altcoin summer. Could.
I just want to let you guys know I tried to bless the markets and I sold a little bit of Ethereum at like $3,600.
For what?
For cash, USDT.
You bastard.
Because I'm hoping
for dirty fiat.
The market's gonna be like, ooh, too soon, Junior. And then
Matty will be editing this part out too for being a
that's right.
Turncoat. Being a turncoat.
Blasphemy. This isn't an algorithm problem. This is a crypto problem.
Right.
Taking X. Exactly.
Fiat, dirty fiat. How dare you, Briz?
I sold Ethereum. I didn't sell any PulseChain assets. I sold Ethereum on the Ethereum chain. I'm just trying to make a sacrifice to the market. So the market can leave me behind and make me look and feel like an idiot.
I see.
And the rest of you guys.
No, you don't need the market. Come on. Whereas you're good.
I am the market.
Well, the sacrifice for the freedom to sign is over now. It ended yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you can still sacrifice because a sacrifice you don't get anything for.
No.
There's no.
There's a list. It was time limited.
Whatever you want.
I'm gonna post another address on the tweet.
You can send it to the dead address. You can send it to 369.
Don't send anything. So, yeah.
Steak
and, you know, like, you know, it's rumored that the PulseChain OA, like FOMO bought Ethereum. The freedom to sign OA might have FOMO bought PulseChain. You never know. It's all on chain.
FOMO bought.
There we go.
What does that even mean?
Just rumors.
Swap.
Just rumors.
Oh,
Freedom to
just
sign.
How can you FOMO at the bottom?
Whenever you swap, you have to sign for it.
I was double checking the ETH chart, and yeah, it's actually a 25% move. If you check out the weekly, 25% move, and it wiped out the previous 9 weeks of losses.
You got the receipts, man. Did you
guys? I mean, I know people poo-poo charts and TA and stuff like that, but man, it's like if you're not watching the charts, it's like you're really leaving out a big piece of the puzzle as far as getting, you know, taking the temperature of the markets and like what's possible, what's happening, what direction things are moving. Yeah.
Well, so, I use it to keep me from becoming a psychopath. Well, more of a psychopath, I guess.
Keeps me more sane a little bit.
Maddie's words. Yeah. Well, because you know, by watching the overall macro of the cycle, and I see it not looking different, right? And not really seeing it being like a tremendously different cycle, then it calms me down a little bit that I don't have to worry about all-time high next week. Yep. And I also don't have to worry about all-time highs not coming because the system, well, the cycle appears to be progressing.
So do you guys think that PulseChain or Hex is going to outperform Ethereum and Bitcoin?
100%.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Depends on your time frames, right? I mean, EHEX
from now.
Yeah. But what I mean is EHEX will definitely outperform.
It just might take longer
on Ethereum chain, but then at some point, right, we're going to see what'll happen will be things will be deflating and move the other direction. So yeah,
the hexening is that a thing?
I don't know. It could be a thing if people want to. Hey, if we all go burn our hex, we'll have a hexening.
Stake hex.
Yeah, Maddie, just simply because of course the connectors are not so clean that there are instantaneous changes, but we know the LP is all connected, liquidity is all connected, and there is more liquidity in the ETH Bitcoin ecosystem than in the PulseChain ecosystem. And so that connection will wag the dog, so to speak, I think, you know, meaning, well, I guess that's a bad analogy, but that connection will create larger swings in the PulseChain environment and the tokens. You know, how much? I don't know. We'll see. That's my guess anyways, what would happen.
Okay, so you're bullish.
I don't know. I hope that's been coming through week over week, but yeah, I'm still bullish.
Somehow we are finding ways to remain bullish in all this madness. Crispy and I actually had a really good conversation earlier today, and it's remarkable to me still after all this time that we've both been through, you know, the highs and lows of crypto, that things as simple as hex staking and pulse validating, things maybe a little more complicated like yield farming, are just tried and true and simple and a good way to just kind of, you know, increase your bags, right, over time. And there's so much stuff that looks enticing. But, you know, the tried and true, man, it's like there's something to be said for like, okay, is there possibly, like, for example, just if you're comparing farming against validating, right? There's way higher percentages to go over and yield farm than there is to validate. So someone might ask me, hey, Toby, why aren't you pulling your validators offline and going over and farming? Well, number one is I would have to sell half of my pulse to buy the other side of it, right? If I wanted to do a stable, if I wanted to do ink, whatever. Then let's say I'm going to go into like the ink pulse pair. I'm going to have to sell half my pulse for that. So there's tax consequence. Then number two, it's only earning about 45, 50%. So it's going to take me about 2 years to make back that Pulse that I bought, that I sold for ink, right? And then, of course, I'm earning ink all the while, so I can chip away and buy Pulse bags back. But what if Pulse outperforms everything? Now I've taken this huge risk to go over here and speculate on the incentive token, which I'm not saying anything bad about. I still think it can do wonderful things, but everything comes down to liquidity at the end of the day. And if you're talking about large amounts of money, I would rather have a stable 9% yield on validating and earning more Pulse than taking those kind of risks. I'm doing both, but I'm doing it in a balanced way, right? So it's like, but it's really interesting to me how there's people that will just forego anything that's not 50% APY. And they're chasing from DEX to DEX to find the best APY on these other things. And it's like, I really love what Hexy Bastard's doing, but do I want all my yield in BBC?
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I like what's going on over in 9mm. It's like, I like some other stuff that's happening out there. There's Fucks, there's 2 Fucks, but it's like, do I want all my yield in Fucks?
I don't roll out of bed for less than 90% APR.
Seriously?
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. So, so basically, maybe it's that we're older, me and Crispy are kind of, the elder statesmen of the community. And, maybe it's that's why we have that perspective, but man, it's been a year. Like I've been validating for a year and that shit stacked up. It's, I'm
how you doing?
Pleased. I'm pretty pleased.
Where you at?
Where am I at? I'm validating every day and have been for over a year now.
What's your percent? How much did you get?
It's tricky.
Whoa! Come on, we're not going to click.
I'm not saying dollar amounts. I'm saying percentages.
Percentage
yield.
The
percentage? Yeah. What's the percentage?
It's tricky to pin down exactly because early on the percentage yield was way higher. It was over 20%, but that didn't last long, and then it petered out, and it's averaged out around about 9%. And what I've done is I've taken my Pulse yield and the ink that I'm earning in farming, and I'm pairing it together and putting it back into the pools. So
it sounds like you got about like 12 to 15%.
Probably over the course of the year.
Mm.
Yep.
If you're like compounding like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you got to look at it going forward though, and that 9%-ish number is a little tough for some people to swallow. And you'll lose the argument every day with anybody who's like super excited about LP and farming being like, oh no, that's much better.
43 nailed it.
But there's a different risk profile, and it's not even worth trying to explain it to people who don't want to hear about it. But it's a different level of risk, and because everything's great until it's not great,
Right.
Example: everything's great until the farm doesn't exist anymore, and they take it down. And now, depending on where you are, you've got 2 tokens you need to swap for something else, bringing on additional exposure and risk to other things, right? And then, of course, even when we do see protocols, and I'm not picking on any particular one, but just like on the Ethereum side, right? How many times did things not work out as advertised? Many times, right? So those 1,000% pools, all of a sudden tokens weren't even worth value anymore, right? And again, I'm not talking about the ones that we just brought up, but I'm just saying it's risk that you can't account for. And so 10%, 9% is pretty damn good for a portion of your portfolio.
Yeah, because hasn't PulseChain outperformed Hex in the past year?
I don't know. Has it?
That's a good question.
I've been farming for almost a year
actually.
now, and at the current price, I feel like I've gotten probably just a little over 100% for the year at the current price. So when ink goes back up to $10, I'm going to be a really happy camper.
Eh.
The ink farms, especially on the stable side, I'm not gonna lie, it's been amazing if you've been farming all year.
Are you gonna buy 10 caravans?
Am I gonna buy what?
10 caravans.
Caravans.
What's a caravan?
It's like an RV.
It's like a trailer.
Do they make those? Are they?
Yeah.
It's like an old thing, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a thing. It's like an RV.
I would love to get that one.
Caravan's like an RV. Huh?
Will Smith has this like 2-story RV. I want to get one of those.
I'm calling you guys out for not having seen the lowest of stakes.
I saw it. I thought it was great.
Did you see the part with 10 caravans?
Yeah, it was at it was like the little trailer park that they were hanging out in.
No, he's sitting at the table. He's doing the Mikey scene.
Oh,
he's doing the Mikey scene.
Okay,
and he's like, you know, like I took our life savings and I put it into crypto because I thought we could get 10 caravans.
Right. Yeah. No,
which is particularly funny to me because you can't drive 10 caravans at the same time. You can only drive one.
Right. That's true. But you can park them.
But you can put them to work. You can put them to work.
All right. You guys spoken as true farmers.
Yes.
I blinked out after I saw the lady take her top off. That's all I could remember.
Dude, if that wasn't an indication that it was truly the lowest of stakes. Yeah.
I think technically caravans are called minivans. I don't know. I don't think they're RVs.
No, I think it's an RV.
Well, if you buy one, it's just a van. But
so they have like a kitchenette inside them and a toilet and that kind of stuff.
I'm speaking out of my depth. I only know about DeLoreans and sedans.
Going Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Maybe they're talking about Future Us as their trailers. Maybe you're not talking about caravans like a caravan, the model of minivan in the U.S.
I've like misspoken, so I'm now going to delete all of my accounts across all social media.
I'm out.
Thank you guys for being so supportive.
Like alpha.
I like how
true. This is true alpha.
I like how in the 80s, you know, our parents used to threaten us that if we didn't do good in school, we'd be living in a van down by the river. And now it's 2024 and peak life is living in a van down by the river.
You guys had vans by the river. We just had tents. Man. I don't know, man.
Well, a lake, a river, it's all the same.
According to Wikipedia, a caravan, travel trailer, camper, tourer, or camper trailer is a trailer towed behind a road vehicle.
Oh, nice. In which country?
I would imagine this is the United States.
All countries.
But mobile homes could be referred to as caravans, which I believe they are in Great Britain. So
yeah, that's something you can. That's why Future Us said it. So it was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't.
Do you know what's?
I owned a minivan. I owned a minivan that was called a caravan.
Do you know what's less funny than a bad joke is dissecting a good one?
And how can you drive? And so then, Maddie, there's the other thing. If you got 10 caravans, you could daisy chain and drive all.
Daisy chain, yeah.
Well, whatever they call
it. It's like a caravan centipede.
Yeah. The hexapede. There you go.
It's like you circle the wagons, right? Like in the old timey days. It's like you just do it with your caravans to protect yourself from.
Wookie says he has a caravan.
Nice. I'm glad we're educating.
Says they have them in Australia. So you're giving us an education.
I'm glad we're educating each other.
Yes, we are really, really learning. Oh my. So, hey, can we talk about Kraken and Binance and how Richard had tweeted out about how they are looking for new coins to list?
Please.
I was hoping one of you guys had dug into it a little deeper. I followed the Kraken link, and it looked to me from a cursory overview that you had to be the founder of a token to submit it for listing. Am I wrong? Can other people?
Well, Sami is Richard Hart, so
yeah, Sami, go.
He can do it.
I confirm that. Sami is Richard Hart.
Yes. Well, him and Hexalina pulse a lot. They're all one and the same.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, I was really against CEX listings, but then Richard told us to sign up on this one, and now I'm super pro.
Well,
thank God.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about this for a minute because we talked about it a little bit before, and forgive me, I don't remember all the theories that I got. I don't know if it came from Seven or some of these other people that I listened to online.
Crypto 7, shout out to you.
7.
I love you, bro.
7. Oh, get a room. All right. Just joking. Hey, so we yeah. I mean, we may be maybe this is what we're hearing the signal of. We might be on the verge of a new shift in crypto, and the idea that sexes, much like record
Centralized
companies,
exchanges, CEXs.
oh yes,
Family show.
Okay. Well, we may be approaching a situation where centralized exchanges, much like record companies, can no longer control the bits and pieces going on out there, and they want a piece of it. And the way to get a piece of it is to start offering the ability for their customers to get it. And even though I don't like the idea of not controlling my keys through a centralized exchange, I do fancy the idea of more people being able to get much more crypto. So I don't know where this goes, but it would be a pretty weird, awesome thing if I open up my Coinbase account and I can buy Hex. That would be really nice to do.
That would be nice.
I agree that I want that to happen, but if that's going to happen, I want everybody to repeat after me. Not your keys, not crypto.
Not
okay?
Your keys,
because
not crypto.
Because you can psyop everybody in the world to believe that they're holding crypto because it's called Bitcoin on their screen and there's a number loosely associated with a middleman that controls quote unquote the Bitcoin on their screen. And that's not crypto. A centralized exchange is not crypto. We do need centralized exchanges to do a better job of selling Hex, do a better job of listing Hex, do a better job of onboarding more millions of people into crypto. But we have to remember that a centralized exchange is an on and off ramp. Not your keys, not crypto.
If you can forget your password and email someone and get it recovered, that's not
your keys, not your caravan.
Exactly. Not your caravan. That's our new motto.
Dude, you gotta treat
my opinion on
centralized
the CEX listings is I'm all for everything to be listed on every CEX. I just don't want any of us to give them our coins for free.
Of course.
I think if they want to list us and start selling our assets on their platform, they should buy the assets themselves.
Well, think about it. It's like, Crispy and I talked about this earlier in private. It's like, they see all the activity over on DeFi, right? So let's say Coinbase in particular, they want a piece of that action. They're in business to make fees, right? It's like, so obviously they're going to do what they can to make inroads to the DeFi space. And to most people, they don't know the difference between DeFi and CeFi. And for people like us, it's like, do we really care if people on centralized exchanges are buying the tokens we love? I mean, I like it. I don't like it for them. I think that they need to be educated and realize they need to get them off the centralized exchanges and hold their own keys. But as far as broader adoption and opening up those conversations, because think about it. What if someone came to you and said, hey, man, I just bought 1 million Hex. I bought it over on Coinbase. I'm so stoked. And it's like, oh, guess what? There's an airdrop because you have that. And you're going to have to beg Coinbase to see if they'll give it to you. What? What do you mean? Well, let me explain to you about holding your own keys. Let me explain to you about taking that and moving that to a wallet that you control. So, I think that that's the future that we could, that's like the next group of people to educate, because getting on centralized exchanges is going to get more eyeballs and it is going to create more holders. And then it's our job to save those people from the pitfalls of being on a CEX.
Well, if 1 billion people think that they own crypto, you're not going to tell them any different. Like, that's the risk here.
We can save a few.
Well, the risk here, I think is significant because we already have probably more crypto adoption happening. That's not really crypto. It's people holding coins on Robinhood where it's non-sendable, it's non-redeemable, it's just a number. It's worse than an NFT. It's
rehypothecation.
It's a number loosely associated with a middleman who owns your crypto. Not even a serial number loosely related to a JPEG that may or may not be hosted on the internet. Like, I like NFTs that you hold yourself better than fake Bitcoin, fake Ethereum, fake Dogecoin, all these things that if people think that they own crypto, they're not going to do the work to get into real crypto, and real crypto will fall by the wayside, you might say.
I feel there's only two reasons to have a CEX at this point. One is to get your fiat. Excuse me. One is to get your fiat into crypto. We need an exchanger for that. And then the only other reason why, I think they're useful is that if Hex and PulseChain was available on every single CEX, all it does is really just gives it a mark of legitimacy. That way you go like, well, why isn't this on Coinbase? Is it a scam? Why doesn't Coinbase want to list it?
Well,
but if it's listed on Coinbase, you're like, look, it's legitimate.
I'm all for that, but that's not crypto.
No. Well, it's the trade-off there, right? Because it's like if we want to, it's like I'm more of a pragmatist, right? So it's like I think if it gets more eyeballs on the tokens that we love, and that gives us a new subset of people to educate about the pitfalls of centralized exchanges versus DeFi and holding your own coins, then I think it's net positive, right? I understand your concern, Maddie. I definitely am like hardcore DeFi. I think that's the future. I think that's what people should be focusing on. I think even these bills.
But it's not crypto. It's not crypto. Okay. So stop using, take the name out of your mouth, right? Will Smith slapping Coinbase, Brian Armstrong right now. Okay. Okay. It's not crypto. And if you keep saying that it's crypto, you're lying and you're forcing a narrative and you're taking away from what is really crypto. So people can get very confused as to what crypto is, and they can think that they're holding crypto and they're not, and that's very dangerous.
Okay,
so
what
I'm saying,
but let me ask you a question.
That's not crypto.
No, I don't disagree at all. But my thing is, do you think it's better for people to think they own crypto and go ahead and buy it on Robinhood or go ahead and buy it on Coinbase and get it where they get it and think they're in crypto and then be educated to why there's a difference? Or
it's fraud. You know what it is? It's fucking fraud. Fuck Coinbase. Okay.
Wow. First thing of all,
they're lying. They're lying to people. They're committing fraud. Okay.
Maddie,
so it's not crypto if a middleman holds it. Period. End of story.
Yes.
Bitcoin Maxi here, reporting for duty.
Yeah. Sir, yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, yes, sir. I don't disagree. I'm just saying that, hey, we've got Richard Art himself tweeting out about how, hey, Kraken and Binance are looking for coins to list. I mean, he's kind of tipping his hand a little bit to saying that, maybe these are things to pursue. So I think that he's a lot smarter than I am in crypto stuff. So I'm kind of deferring to that. I see where you're coming from, Maddie. I don't disagree. I'm also very, very passionate about, I mean, use a centralized exchange like you use a Motel 6, right? You get in, you get out. You do the minimum time there. You don't want to live there, right? It's like that's the thing.
And get out.
Right.
Yo, Bitfinesse came back just for the
Bitfinesse. Oh, good to see you, man. It's been a minute.
Oh, gee.
Good to see you.
Shout out Bitfinesse.
Well, I certainly understand your viewpoint, Maddie, on it. I was thinking and talking about the technology and how things might be changing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the end result is, and I don't know if it looks like your version of crypto or the only version of crypto. Don't know. That's part of the battle as we go along. But these exchanges, technically, what they might be able to do is actually do a thing where they have the software plugin, if you want to call it that allows them on Coinbase to allow you to point to what you want, and it goes and finds the best aggregated deal in DeFi and brings it back to you. Where it stores it, how it does that, I'm not vouching for any of that. I'm just saying there could be a new type of market opening up that we haven't seen before.
Did you hear? Did you hear that the BlackRock ETF is not settling in Bitcoin? So they're saying that they're buying Bitcoin and they're not holding Bitcoin in the custody of Coinbase.
What?
So they have already started lying about their Bitcoin holdings. They've already started. They've been caught. And why are we not talking about this? Because pump our bags, banks.
What that means,
This is crypto.
You have to dissect what that means. They're not settling in crypto.
Let me see if I can find the tweet.
That's the letter of the law, right? I mean, it's supposed to be settled in crypto.
They're committing fraud.
Sounds like when you want to get out of BlackRock, they give you cash instead of Bitcoin.
No, I'm talking about how BlackRock
trades, right?
Reports to the stock exchange how much Bitcoin they have. All their Bitcoin is held by Coinbase, but instead of having Coinbase actually buy the Bitcoin that they say that they have, they just have an IOU in fiat to Coinbase, and Coinbase doesn't actually make the purchase. This is what I read from a reliable source. Yeah, it's I don't know if I can find it right away, but yeah, that's I mean, I read it in the past couple days.
See Tony in the chat.
Initially, just from listening to that, it just kind of sounds like GBTC, where Bitcoin goes in, but only cash comes back out.
Here. I found it right away. All I had to type was Bitcoin, Coinbase, BlackRock. Okay, and that brought it up on Twitter here. I'm gonna share the screen.
Please.
This is nuts, guys. So it says here, it says you read it right. BlackRock has been settling its BTC transactions with Coinbase using Bitcoin's settlement network. We're not talking about buying a coffee. It allows BlackRock to borrow Bitcoin, including short selling, without proving a 1-to-1 holding ratio. Well, the transactions settle in 2 to 30 days, all in cash, not Bitcoin. Off-chain trades occur outside the blockchain, remaining invisible on the public ledger. BlackRock's off-chain Bitcoin borrowing raises transparency issues. This method offers several advantages, including increased transaction speed and reduced fees. However, it also brings about transparency concerns, particularly regarding large-scale transactions involving significant market players like BlackRock.
Yikes.
I would argue that's kind of a good thing because they would not be clogging up the blockchain and making the gas fees go
Brisology, they're creating paper Bitcoin, and that is hurting it's hurting the definition of crypto.
Yeah,
they're telling people that they own crypto, but they're not buying it on chain. This is the worst possible thing that could happen in crypto, is for people to think that they own crypto and they really have an IOU that's not backed by anything. That's the old system. That's the banking system just dressed up like a pig in lipstick, and they're calling it crypto.
Hey, Maddie, I actually, in private chat, I dropped you a link to another guy on Twitter that had a little video about it for later consumption, because obviously you don't want to play another guy's video. But then there's also a link to altcoinbuzz.io about the full story about it.
Oh, yeah. That's referenced in the tweet I dropped. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
I'm going to bookmark that.
I was unawares. See, this is why I love coming on Game Theory Gang, because it's like, not only did maybe I help some people learn a few things, I also am of the group that is learning. So appreciate you guys for bringing some of this to light. I'm really, really interested to kind of go back to the bills that we were talking about and how those could affect CBDs and whether or not, what was it called? It was in the Nuclear Herbs tweet that we were talking about at the top of the show, where they're basically saying that basically all other cryptos are not securities. Like that's part of yeah. So that was like, wait a minute. How does that? If this happens, how does that impact the RH case in particular? Not to mention anything else. It's like on the docket, trying to paint. Oh frick! I gotta find the terms. Hang on, I'll find it. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
I'm glad you brought it back to like what. This is a big deal for politics to change regarding all of crypto. If all of crypto is deemed not a security not under the SEC, that could lead to the renaissance that we're looking for. And the people who thought that they owned Bitcoin, maybe they do.
Yeah, so
real crypto.
So prohibits the creation of centralized digital currencies. Okay, so no more CBDCs, which is like, okay, they're going to push on that one, push back on that one. The other one says this bill excludes an investment contract asset as being considered a security, including for disclosure and registration purposes. So you don't have to disclose, you don't have to register. An investment contract asset as defined by the bill is a tangible or intangible asset sold pursuant to an investment contract that is not otherwise considered a security. So it's like, ta-da, like get out of jail free card for everybody, right? It's remarkable. So all the more reason to like find who your congressperson is, mention these bills that that Nuclear Herbs brought to my attention. Marty Party Music was the Twitter account that posted it, and then he retweeted it. But anyhow, yeah, please go check out who your congressperson is. I mean, I'm sure most of the people in this audience went and signed the amicus brief thing for Richard's case. You know, I know that I participated in that. My whole family participated in that. You know, so if you're going to do those kind of things, it's like this is the kind of deal where it's like you can take action. Just like my dad was just absolutely crazy with politics when I was growing up, and it really turned me off of politics, because what I didn't realize is earlier in his life he was politically active, like on a local level. Later in his life he wasn't. So to me it felt like bullshit. Like, okay, all you're doing is complaining about like the state of things, but I don't see you doing anything. Because he had pivoted and just became like a businessman and was like providing for his family. So for me, it made this thing in me of like, I don't like talking about politics if I'm not doing anything about it. And it's like, and we are in a representative government. So therefore, if my congressperson is representing me and he is getting my vote, then my voice matters. And phone calls help, man. It's like, I've actually called and talked to Congress people before. And my congressperson, it was actually the mayor of a city near where my parents live years ago. So I actually spoke with this man once in my life and about another issue long ago. And so it's like, it's possible that you could actually talk to your congressman. Can you believe it? It's possible. The phone numbers are on those websites. Like it's House of Representatives, something. I dropped it in the chat earlier, but check it out. It's in that Nuclear Herbs thread. I post a link to where you can go in, put in your zip code. What's tricky though is it asks for the +4 for your zip code. So if you don't know that, you're going to have to figure it out. So it's your zip code,
your own address.
Yeah. So it's like most people, I don't think, know that little +4 extension on your zip code. So yeah, so find your zip code, get your +4. It'll tell you specifically who your congressperson is if you don't already know. And the big thing is it's going to give you not only an email address for them, but a phone number. So you can call and leave a voicemail about it, and maybe even get a chance to talk to one of their staffers, or maybe even the congressperson themselves. So I'd highly encourage you to like be active. You feel better like when you actually do something instead of just bloviating about it online all day. It's like you feel better if at least you did something. You know, you made your mark in whatever small way. It's not insignificant. It's like people that don't vote but they still want to bitch about it. Get the fuck out of here. Go vote. Make your voice heard. This is the system we're currently in. Participate.
Respect. Well put. Agree.
I just want to say, if Brian Armstrong is listening, I've never had a problem with Coinbase. I've been with you guys since 2014. Not a single problem. Please don't deactivate my account because of these guys.
Dude, I like Coinbase. I mean, as far as centralized exchanges go, it's the one I like the most. Let's just put it that way. It's the one I hate the least. Gemini, recently, I got this laundry list of things that they wanted to know from me to continue to utilize their platform, like where the source of my funds were coming from. They wanted like tax return. Like it was crazy. It felt so invasive, the level of detail they wanted. And I'm like, bye-bye, Gemini.
Those guys are 100% part of the government.
Dude, for real.
PulseX has never asked me for that information.
Right? Exactly.
Uniswap never asked either. Well, but they're getting close.
Yeah, no doubt.
How does Gemini survive all these years and they just have the worst marketing? I don't know anyone that actually uses them besides Toby.
Dude, I had to. I couldn't do shit with Coinbase for like 2 months. I was just tied up in like this mire of like them looking back and like reevaluating my account or whatever. I had to reprove my KYC like 3 times. Had a similar issue with my mom's account. So yeah, so I mean, once they kind of like, if you get flagged for whatever reason, it takes a minute to like get shit sorted. So I was in a scramble, and actually RG3 told me, it's like, dude, I use Gemini all the time. Use Gemini. So I tried Gemini, and they worked out short term, but then after a while, they decided that they had more questions. So, you know, to each their own, whichever one works for you. But once again, use them as intended, right? If you're in DeFi, you use those things. I could use a more crass example, but get in and get out, right? Like go use it for what you're, you know, give it what you're paying them for, give them the fees, get it back out of there. You know, you don't want to live there. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're depending on what you're buying, right? So it's like if you're buying Ethereum, then you're going to have some fees.
No. You buy USDC for 0 fees.
Yes.
You send it to your MetaMask. You swap on cow.fi or pulsex.com. And now,
but if you don't have any Ethereum,
now you're not paying a 3%. You're not paying a 2.5% like a fee that they tell you about, plus another 2% float fee that they're not telling you about.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's fraud too, by the way.
They built that into the price, so you think you're
fraud.
getting it. Yeah, it's total fraud. It's like that was one of the things I had issue with back in the GDAX days, even. But
the real Bitcoin is on PulseChain.
but my point is like if someone's first getting in, they have to have ETH to participate, right? So it's like they got to get their first bit of ETH somewhere. So I don't know any other easy way to do that off the top of my head. So they got to at least start there. And then also when the gas was really high for a period of time there, and I don't know if it was like a discount they were doing on Coinbase or what, but it was actually cheaper to buy ETH there than it would have cost me to get ETH through Uniswap or wherever.
Yeah.
So just check your rates, see what makes the most sense. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But once you're in DeFi,
this complicates onboarding because we can't say ahead of time because we don't know what the gas fees are.
Right. Yeah.
Except on PulseChain.
So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just get over on PulseChain and live there, dude, until you're ready to exit. And then there's going to be more off ramps. There's going to be more off ramps coming. Do you know if OX Coast worked their stuff out and they're like back up and functional?
They're working on it.
Still working on it. But dude, that's going to be a game changer. And once they like blaze that trail and it's solid, it's only a matter of time before we have more on ramps and off ramps. And it's like, I think I told you guys this before, but long ago, it's like I asked Richard just for some advice, like when I was getting ready to retire. And this is back when he would actually reply to DMs on Telegram. And I asked him, I'm like, is there an area that you would focus on? Like if I wanted to just put efforts in. And he goes, what we need more than anything is on ramps and off ramps. You know, so it's like that was way back in the day.
You can buy like $100 worth of PulseChain on Rabby wallet using Ethereum. Like it's called gas top up, but it's a that's a new method I tried out recently.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't played around with a lot of the other wallets. I mean, I know MetaMask. I'm familiar with MetaMask. It's like
they're expected to do an airdrop Rabby wallet. Rabby.io, rabby.io.
Now, am I going to go do a bunch of transactions on Rabby like I did on MetaMask when you were talking about MetaMask and airdrop?
I've gotten thousands of dollars of airdrops this year already because I clicked buttons on.
Papa was telling me to check out Rabby. Maybe I'll have to mess around with Rabby a little bit.
The referral code is Future Us. Sorry, cool. Future Us in the chat.
I've claimed free points from Rabby. We'll see what happens.
I only have 10 points right now, so
is it
more
too
people
late?
who can use the code. No, you can go and you can use the code Future Us to earn points.
Where? Like on rabbywallet.io or something, or where?
Yeah, Rabby RABBY.io on desktop.
Okay.
It's a MetaMask extension, or not a MetaMask extension, but it's a Chrome extension. So what I did is I created a separate Chrome that my Chrome that has my MetaMask doesn't get confused about which wallet should pop up.
Perfect.
And it's like on mobile, it just like it goes directly into your MetaMask that's on your phone, and it doesn't let you generate seed words, at least on the iPhone. So it's a totally different experience when you're on desktop.
Cool. I will educate myself.
Yeah, so Hexagon Hero, this is how you can get airdrops. The latest one that I'm working on is well, there's actually two. There's the Rabby wallet points, and then there's also my airdrop free claim that you can post a fresh wallet address for a limited time. It's kind of been a final call now in the past couple of days, and I'll drop the link here in the chat. So anybody who drops a fresh wallet address, there's been about 1,300 people so far who have done it. And if you're not in there, then get going.
So Maddie, on Rabby, you'd recommend doing the desktop install and not the extension?
I did the extension.
You did
on
the
a
extension.
on a separate Chrome profile.
Got it.
I have the Rabby on the same extension as my MetaMask and Internet Money wallet, and I don't really have any
no issues. Okay, cool.
Just FYI.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, and Rabby is created by DBank, and DBank is like really good at finding cross-chain airdrops that you may qualify for from the past.
Gotcha. DBanks, there's some interesting stuff going on over there with people registering on DBank and then interacting with larger wallets to try to educate them about the potential with PulseChain. So there's kind of
True Moxie's been
True Moxie, that's him.
Yeah, that in the Axis community, trying to just encourage people. You have to be careful. You should be thinking about what you want to show and doxing and all that. But the idea being to interact with these very large whales across multiple systems and sharks and other people, and to build that up, you know, that bit of communication. Because it's a different angle to communicate with somebody. Because it's really hard, right? Mass communication and mass media is really hard. I mean, getting people's attention through X and whatnot. So,
well, with
word of mouth
DBank,
is still the best way, you know.
Well, with DBank, it's like you can, you know, depending on what you label your wallet, it's like it doesn't, you know, you can keep it pretty anonymous still, just depending on how you interact with it. And then if you don't want more functionality, I think it's like $96 a year. And it gives you some more functionality over there.
Well, yeah, it gives you the ability to set up all sorts of other things, right? Like your whole portfolio and whatnot, which is another argument that we could have, right?
Yeah.
Like don't put your digits in anything ever. Well, you got to put them somewhere, and I'm pretty sure none of you guys have memorized all of your addresses and the hashes for them. So yeah.
Oh, I just have everything on one address. Is that a problem?
And to keep it simple on your hot wallet.
I've got a sticky note on my laptop that has my secret.
But you know, a four-digit pin will cover that. Don't worry about it. All right. How long does a 4-digit pin last? Is it less than 30 seconds?
So yeah,
before it's hacked. Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah,
like 11 seconds.
You know, that was the
20s. In the 20s.
Yeah.
Of
20 seconds.
digits. No, you should, like, your password should be 20 characters long or more.
Yeah. For anybody who didn't understand, I was joking.
Oh yeah, totally joke. Well, that's how Mr. Beast, like, he had a laptop stolen that apparently had a bunch of Bitcoin on it, and thought that he was wrecked, and he literally had his seed phrase on the laptop with a sticky note, and somehow the person didn't figure out that that's what all that was, and he was able to move everything before they got to it.
Wow.
Would he write it down twice or use iCloud or
something? Who knows what other idiocy he was doing? Yeah. So.
Oh my god, it's a good thing I only write in crayon.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Vitalik has his mom as a multi-sig.
Yeah, that's wild, isn't it? I've heard that. And then he does something with like the private key where it's just one big long number. So it's like he has two numbers that you add together to get the full private key.
That's what a private key is it's a giant number on the elliptical curve of elliptical curve cryptography. And I will probably someday bloviate about this to a great extent, but today's not the day, I guess.
SHA-256, baby.
Shamir's
I almost
secret
went
sharing.
into it on my
Created by
Twitter
the
Spaces.
NSA.
Hey guys, I I was driving yesterday and I talked to people for 7 hours, pretty much letting anybody come up and speak. And I got to talk to a lot of silent investors, people who stake Hex. ChrispyMan, they stake Hex. They dollar cost average.
I like it.
They don't get fudded out.
Who's this unicorn?
They aren't here for just price appreciation. They respect the pump, but they are here for long-term time frames, long-term delayed gratification. There were many people who came on the Twitter Spaces making their voice heard, saying that they watch our show.
Oh, good.
They like all you guys, which that's the most surprising part. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
And
obviously
don't be so hard on yourself.
It was really cool because I don't always get exposed to that format of people who have never spoken before coming and speaking. And there are people out there, they've heard everything I've ever said on YouTube. And so I can learn a lot from them because they know my ideas, but I don't know theirs. And so doing these like long cross-country Twitter Spaces, it inspires me. I should probably do it more because I'm hearing from the real people, not just the loudest. Today's hottest YouTuber who's going off into these other meme coins and kind of losing the plot. No offense.
Right.
No offense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's like it's back to not to mention Nerd Girl 15 times in this stream, but building bridges, right? Talking to other communities, like finding common ground, and it builds respect because it's like if people have just like a very ancillary connection to the Hex community, it could be negative, right? I mean, there's been a lot of FUD about hexicans in general, and it's like if they meet one, right, and they talk to them and see what they're about, and
well, I'm speaking in particular about hexicans that we don't hear from.
Yeah,
okay.
Silent majority.
The silent investors that help support the price because they're earning money in the real world. They have not retired from crypto, even though some of them could, some of them can't. But like they're out there listening to the and repeating like the true message. The whole delaying gratification thing. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What? What's that?
Well,
I heard of it.
No, I made a whole prep for a stream this week to talk just about that and my view on what a Maxi believes, right? And all those viewpoints. And I think you're right. I think there's quite a few of us out here, and that we don't get heard, and you get kind of shouted over by all the different things that are going on, right? Not to mention that, even though staking is the best thing ever since sliced bread, that you're not going to hear anybody say that about me. Probably you guys, maybe, that's the case because
there's tons of people.
That's it. Yeah. But I mean, I'm talking about when I go on stream. I mean,
correct.
I mean, it's getting tough. I'm hearing more people say that nobody talks about Hex than I am hearing people talk about Hex.
Right.
That's for sure.
There's a great example, and I love ChrispyMan that you're making an episode about that. I'm going to make sure to tune into it, and I would encourage everybody else to subscribe to your channel as well. The link is in the description below. I heard Frank Molina go on Crypto 7's show the other day, and he's a great example of somebody that is becoming more active.
That was a great interview.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. 7 did a good job, man.
He sure did.
Yeah, we need to see more people stepping up like Frank.
Yeah, I mean, you can see actually, so we also, we get all this FUD and whatnot, but with the stay positive, right? It's actually creating kind of a walled garden for miners, which will be very profitable for Hex miners. But, I hear a lot about capitulation and all this other junk. The miners are not the ones capitulating. So
correct.
Sure, the system kind of like goes on like it should, and just kind of revolves, and T shares go down, share rate goes up, payouts go up. But yeah, we hear a lot about penalties and stuff, but it's been on a steady average for years now. And so things are working the way they are. Now, what would be a capitulation event is, and I don't mean like the Hex 19 stuff that came out last week and stuff, would be if we saw significant numbers of people moving significant numbers of T shares out of the system by by emergency end staking. That would be people voting with their feet, and I just don't see it yet. And I don't expect to see it, but I don't see it. I'm sticking around. I'm sticking around. If all the haters are right, I'm sticking around for 5,000 hex per T-share per day.
Well, and maybe it's the contrarian in me, but it seems like in a weird way, the more people want to, kind of shout down the hex staking as a narrative, or the staking's passe or whatever, it just makes my resolve stronger. In it, which there are times when I kind of question that, like,
dude,
but it's math. Yeah. When I go back to the math, then it reassures me.
Yeah, this subject get me all fired up because, like we were talking about before, people just ignore the risk, they ignore all the bullshit that goes on, and they discount it. And I can find 20 people tell me that they're going to make a lot more than 15% on average over 15 years, right? But they neglect to tell you how they're freaking out in the chats because they don't know how to make their change, and there's a stress level. And do I swap into this? Do I swap into that? Do I swap into that? And oh, by the way, they missed one of the moves, and instead of going up 100%, they're down 20%. Do that a few more times and they're down quite a bit. And listen, I'm not their dad, so I'm not going to sit there, or their parent. I'm not going to sit there and try to figure out the stuff. I just go back to what we talked about and what resonated with Richard, right? Yeah. When we created, and I say we because I was part of it, but when Richard created the system and we kind of like got into it, the whole idea was delayed gratification. Why don't stay time in the market's better than time in the market. I can find 10 people tell me right now they can time the market just fine and they made a ton of money. Right.
Well, and and not to draw the ire of the Tang Gang or Twos in particular, but it's like I like a lot of the stuff that they're doing, but I feel like
they're killing it, man. in that whole area. But
you don't hear about the people that aren't.
PulseChain.
Well, you don't. You don't hear about the people that are getting caught in the meat grinder, chasing from one meme to the next to the next. And it's like if you're following what he's doing, like to the letter of the law, then maybe you're doing great, and congrats to that. But the reality of it is most people that are getting wrecked, you don't hear about it. Like they don't raise their hand and be like, oh, I chased those from this one to this one to that one, and now I've got no economic energy to even participate in this cycle. Thanks, bye. You just don't hear from them, right? What you hear about, it's I know that I use my gambling analogies not a lot, but it's like I used to play blackjack for a living, and I would be around people that spend a lot of times in casinos. You would always hear about the wins. People would rarely tell you about the times that they lost. Yeah. So it is not a fair assessment just from what you see on Twitter. And also the money has to come from somewhere. For everybody that's made a gain, someone had a loss. That's just kind of the nature of trading, right? Yeah. So it's like good for you if
you don't want to talk about that, Toby. Don't tell people that.
Well, yeah. So it's like so that's the thing.
Look, if Bitfinesse keeps driving across the country when he could retire, but he keeps being a productive member of society, and he keeps buying and staking hex like we know he does, that's a net positive for the world. That's creating more goods and services, which is creating more backing for the accounting system that we call money. I want to shout out another OG that
Give me Liberty. I haven't seen him in a minute.
Give me hex, baby.
I saw him post during the PulseChain conference, and I'm so pleased that the comments about silent investors drew him out on this stream. This is give me Liberty or give me hex. Shout out to you, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
I just had lunch with him a couple weeks ago.
No way.
Show off.
He's a good dude.
We live pretty close to each other.
Dropping
invited me over to his country club.
Look at this.
And he's a silent investor and he's a silent onboarder. Yeah, he's telling me about all the people at the country club he gets onboarded into Hex and crypto.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Good job, bro.
It's like, yeah, there's a lot of silent investors out there.
Well, you know, here's the thing too. Is, you know, I know we're all crypto crazy. I know I am crypto crazy, right? So I'm like taking this whole crypto world. But when I'm looking at TradFi and moving into Hex, right, which is where my preference is in crypto, greater than 3 times the rewards, you know, and price appreciation over time. And right now in this cycle, you can't say that, right? Exactly. You can only get kind of close that you got to, I mean, we have to put all sorts of things together and talk about how we got copies and add the prices but the prices are down and all the rest. But, you know, this is like the bottom of the second inning or something, right? So that's a baseball metaphor, maybe, if I got it right. Anyways, so we've got to see what happens with this cycle when we move on. Won't it? What do people? All right, so you got somebody with 100 T-shares today, you know, and they're printing, they're printing 700 Hex a day. What happens? What happens to Hex when Hex is $1.50? So just say it goes back to regular. It's it's just 50 cents. You're going to tell me that people aren't interested in $350 a day of freewheeling yield, that they are rewards that they don't have to go chase and swap every day to make it work, you know, and I feel it. I know it can happen. It's happened before, right? Why can't it happen again? It could. And you get the naysayers out, oh, the price will never go back up, blah, blah, blah. But every other shit going in the world can go to $200 or $1,000, but not Hex, right? So anyways, it's a lot of weirdness and people just not paying attention that we're really in a cycle and a lot of different things have happened. I don't deny the prices are down, but that's why the really smart people have been accumulating units, because 100 T-shares, right? That's actually a Randy Hilarski thing, you know, minimum 100 T-shares, right? That's always been his advice to people. So shout out to Randy.
Any idea what that's how much that is today?
We'd have to go look for some.
Well, they're like what?
No, Tony put it up there. I don't
less than $300 per T-share, I think, at current prices.
Sorry, go ahead and keep making your point, and I'll look it up myself.
Anyways, my point, Maddie and team, is units are golden, and the more units you can get, the better position you have for when you see eventual price appreciation, even if it's less than we think it might be, you know, because cycles roll forward. Remember, we got this liquidity sunk in to PulseX, so we've got some good liquidity out there, and
you can get a T-shirt on PulseChain. You guys are gonna love this, and on Ethereum for a combined price of less than $369 right now.
Boom.
Might be around like 360 or
So 369 times 100 is a lot of money, right? I grant you that. 369. You want to do 100, but that's not the full story, because you should really build a ladder, right, to get it. But we were using the 100 as an example, right?
So I'm telling you, like, that's 36K now.
People acquire, enough T-shares.
Oh, divide by 3.
To me, like the price when Hex gets to between like 3 and 5 cents, that's when like the T-shares really start cooking. Because at like 5 cents, you're making like almost 50 cents per T-share, and
Yeah, and it's going to get crazy. It's sad because it's going to be glorious for us, right? For those who are minting and holding Hex, but it's going to be sad in that people will be attracted to Hex at that point. And even though we've been having this conversation, that's when they're going to buy. But see, that's where the delayed gratification comes in, because planning for the next 3 cycles, Trump's trying to pick the top this cycle. And again, I know that I will get some hate from that, right? Because just nearly 80% of the people who are talking are all talking about how they're going to dump their hex on my head, right? You just nonstop, right? I'm dumping it all. I'm dumping it all. So, but I'm gonna outplay him, and I'm gonna outlast.
Can I mention something a little weird about the whole Trump stuff with his crypto, his NFT collection?
Sure.
So when he launched his first NFT collection, he said it with his own mouth, and it really didn't look like AI to me. And so I went into it pretty hard. I actually ended up buying like 45 NFTs. And yeah, right. It cost.
How many did you get?
What was that?
How many did you buy?
45. Because I wanted to go to the gala dinner at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
And the requirement was you needed 45 NFTs, or each one comes with like a random mystery prize. Yeah. But here's the thing about it is that for the longest time, those NFTs always had a buyer. Every single one, all of my NFTs had a buyer from somewhere. And I was just like, this is just crazy. I ended up selling all of my Trump NFTs for like $600 or more. I minted them for $99, but I kept like
you got a 6x.
Yeah.
I hope you kept the level 3.
But here's the weird part is that ever since the second Trump NFT collection came out, the first NFT collection has no buyers on it whatsoever. So it's like I can't sell them because there's no actual buyers. So it's like, I don't know. It was so weird because it was like for well over a year, every single one of his NFTs had multiple offers. You just had to click accept.
It's almost like they're not fungible or something. Weird.
Yeah. Well, there's some ways you can have fungible tokens, like the 404s. But yeah.
But that's a really good history of Brisology, because a lot of people, they just now in this past 2 weeks have started associating Trump with crypto. But it's true that he's, I think, done 3 NFT collections, and all 3 of them have been involved going to his crypto meetup in Mar-a-Lago at a special dinner where there's like a lot of people. We had B-Roots go to the second one and the third one.
And the first one.
Okay.
I think there's only been 2. He went to the first
only 2.
One.
Okay. And so it's really incredible to me that it was only at this most recent one that happened in the past couple of weeks where it seems like the entire news media started acting like this is like crypto's a political issue. And this might be part of the pressure of what has caused this change in the Biden administration's approach to crypto, in the SEC switching up, and all of a sudden they're going to approve the ETH ETF, is because B-Roots and Funding Jim and Brandon Rice Riches, right? It was KG there. There were all these people there, and there were like 100 other people, and Trump allowed this like press conference organically with all these people who just had their phones out, and they recorded a few viral clips. This is part of crypto history, possibly. I mean, the politicians could be lying to us. The ETH ETF could like never get approved, like all this other stuff, but we might be at a turning point in crypto history where the politics has started to change. So it'll be really interesting if this whole Trump NFT thing was part of it.
I'd like to say this is that I just heard that the Trump campaign is now accepting crypto donations, which I don't think they accepted ever before. Back in 2016, one of the libertarian parties, something Johnson, he was accepting crypto, and even though I knew he had no chance, and I really didn't like some of his comments. Like he said, Hillary Clinton was a wonderful public servant. I still sent him.
You sent him 10,000 Bitcoin, didn't you?
I sent him $5 in Bitcoin, just because I was like, "Hey, look, this guy is accepting crypto. I want to give him some crypto." So my whole point is, even if you don't like Trump, it might be worth it if everyone sent him a little bit of crypto, and if he got like, just millions and millions of dollars in crypto, it could become like, hey, you know what? This is the future of funding political campaigns, and it really could get everyone super on board, all the politicians at least on board with crypto, because like, hey, if we can get X amount of money out of it, we should be promoting crypto.
Yeah, there was a really funny, and like after I thought about it more, I'm like, this is kind of brilliant in a way, but there's like no liquidity. It's a total shitcoin. Do not go search out and buy this thing. But it was in relation to the conflict between, I can't remember the senator or the congressperson's name, Jasmine something, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then they had this beef back and forth. And like she said something about, oh, I guess you can't read it because of your false eyelashes. And then she retorted back something about like bleach blonde, butch built body or something, just like off the cuff, which was really pretty hilarious and a bit of a viral moment. And then someone made a coin, and it links to her campaign. So like basically if you go to DexScreener and find that coin, it basically takes you to her page where you can donate to her campaign. So I'm just like,
oh, somebody should make a reflection token that sends all the donations to who they like, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'll be the next one. But it was just interesting to me. I'm like, oh, that's it's funny because it's obviously a meme play. But then I thought about it a little deeper, and I'm like, oh, it's like, wouldn't that be interesting? It's like if all of like the pro crypto, senators and congresspeople had a token, and then it, no matter what happened with it, whether it was sent to them or not, it would drive traffic to their websites.
So why don't we go register them with all their PLS addresses and send them to them?
Yeah, right.
And then we can start sending them PLS through reflections on PulseChain, baby.
I don't know about reflections. It seems like there's always in badly, but yeah, I mean, to Chris's point about it being a source of campaign finance, it's like, I mean, if crypto is the future, then why wouldn't it have a role to play in campaign finance as well, right?
It does. It already does. They all accept it. I mean, I would bet you there's
so many that hold.
I mean, they couldn't possibly not accept it at this point. It would be silly,
right?
You'd be surprised if you can find like the finances of all these politicians. A lot of them already have crypto. And also, give me Liberty or give me Hex. I just want to say, I saw pictures of Nancy Pelosi in her 20s. Dude, she was a freaking babe back then.
65 years ago.
Yeah. I could totally see it.
You are a true Californian.
Wow.
You're right.
Hateful old crone now.
Gilf.
Oh my God, you're killing me, bro. Never. I wouldn't do that with yours.
If she got her teeth. Oh man.
Oh my God, Maddie, come back quick! It's getting really bad out here.
Probably have to eat soup or something. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna have a brain aneurysm.
I know, right? I'm gonna stroke out on stream.
Better go steak some more, Hex.
Not that kind of stroke.
Hey, comment came up. A comment came up in the chat a moment ago about having staked 5 years ago, and then how you feel about it now. Yeah, it's real, man. Right, because a lot of us did stake, but you did get a copy, and I'm going to bet that if you truly did get the Hex back in the day, right, 5 years ago, and you stake this long, you're in profit. The thing is, it's not 1,000x profit, 10x. It's not 10,000x, but we are coming up to what might be one of the most magnificent bull runs ever. And we knew back then when we were all looking at it, right? You had to have known that this is like an off year on the cycle. It's not quite off, but I mean, it's the year before the end of the 4-year cycle where you would see the blow off. So The reason I would have staked back then for now is to have my options open with my stake coming out, my hex, and having it more in hand, so that if something happens in the next 60 days, I'd be covered. And if it happened next year, I'd be covered.
Yeah, what if 4-year cycles turn into 8-year cycles?
Well, that's why yearly miners having a ladder makes sense, because I can't pick the months, I can't pick the years exactly how it's going to happen, and I assume when I say these things, you guys, that you had similar thoughts and conversations at the time, but maybe not, right? You know, the basic template I worked with is 4-year cycles, and then I needed to try to understand what might happen with a 4-year cycle shortening or elongating and becoming an 8-year cycle. And so how did that affect what I did? It affected me because now I needed to have a well thought out ladder, at least going kind of quarterly level, so that I had flexibility of liquidity, just like in the CD market. Not compact discs, but certificates of deposit. Right, and Briz for you, and not cassettes.
Joke.
But
that's what I call hex.
Yeah. But I mean, going into the future, and so it's hard to get set up at first, and yes, it probably does take a cycle to really begin to get rolling with everything. But as you're looking at things yearly or even quarterly, when hex comes out, you get to decide, just like this gentleman, I assume, gets to decide, what do you do with it? You know, do I want to go back in and stake it long, fill my ladder? Maybe you do that with 10%. I don't know. You want to look and say, do I want to hold it for next year? I think maybe more, and you stake for 6 months, 8 months until when you think things are going to go, or maybe you stay liquid, though, I tend to lean really heavy and 100%, but I mean, that's the whole process.
Let's go.
Maybe I don't need to do a video.
You just clip this one.
You just did the video.
You just did the video.
Well, we could keep talking about it.
It saves you from yourself. It's like I'm thrilled to have quarterly staking ladder. So it's like so you have those options as it comes out, and you can decide. So for me, it's like as I've had quarterly stakes come out over the last 6 months or so, I have held those liquid, because I want to kind of see what's happening, come October. I want to see what's happening come spring. And I have some rolling stakes too. I play around with that a little bit. But on the ETH side in particular, it's like the stakes that have come out, I've just held liquid. So I have that option in case something crazy happens. Then I'm not, 100% staked, and then don't have an opportunity to take advantage of some price appreciation if I choose to.
Well, it's funny too, Tob. I do this to myself as well. Like, I look at all these things, and I look at them all cockeyed, like, this happened before, it's not going to happen again, blah blah blah. But can you imagine if you and some others who really went a little heavy into hex in the beginning? Did you imagine if you truly envisioned and believed that hex would get to a penny or more? And you accumulated the units in the very beginning so that you could actually live off of the rewards at this level. What kind of impact that would have made? I mean, to be getting $120,000 a year at a penny, right? And so then I don't know. I mean, I had faith that hex would go up, but I didn't know it would hit a penny. I didn't know it was going to hit 50 cents last cycle.
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure it was going to hit a penny. But what an opportunity that people have now to be planning for 4-8 years. But it requires that belief. You got to suspend disbelief in that hex is going to stick around, crypto is going to be around, all that stuff. But boy, what an opportunity. And you don't even have to go as heavy as that. I mean, sure. I guess in hindsight, it would have made sense to put a lot of money into hex, but quite a few people didn't go. They didn't go $10,000, $100,000 in hex in the beginning.
I could have put a lot more into hex, and
if you knew now, you would have. I would have put $100,000 in, right? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I went heavier later.
I remember when Hex first launched, I had no idea the amount of X's it would do. Like it just, all I was really looking at was the APR. I was like, oh, the CD, you're gonna get X amount of money back if you put X amount of money in, and I was just like waiting because I still had a bunch of my Bitcoin off to the side. I was like, when these hit $1 million,
I remember we teased you relentlessly about how you were still holding Bitcoin.
I can move them into Hex, and then I can start earning a percentage on that $1 million. Wow. But then freaking Hex blew up. I was like, okay, never mind. This is the thing to beat.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect example of like timing the market versus time in the market, right? Because it's like a short little window when things go apeshit. And it's like, and I think especially now that it's been such a prolonged period with like down and sideways, that people get a little complacent and they think, it's like, I got time to go fuck around. It's like, I'll go do this or that, or I can pull it out and go maybe double it up on something else and then I'll come get my Hex back, but then, or my Pulse or my Ink or whatever, you name it. And there's gonna be people that are like, oh shit, like it just left the station without me. So
well, if you look at the way the charts lay out for Bitcoin, and we'll use Bitcoin as kind of the thermometer, the whatever, the balloon for what's going to happen with crypto. Last time it crossed these kinds of levels during the last bull run, it was less than 6 months to the blow off top, and then we went into a bear. Right. And I'm not suggesting I believe that will happen, but it could happen. Right.
Right.
And so, yeah. I mean, this whole time in the market is, well, what if we end up with one of these tops that's in 6 months, end of this year, and then we got kind of like a sideways movement, like Bruce said, for 2 years. I don't know that the structure's really changed, but so many of us are all like, oh, no, they're going to get another top. I'm going to hold. And that's exactly how you end up round tripping. So I don't know. I think sometimes you got to realize profits too. And if we end up at some sort of an all-time high, people ought to be positioning themselves for what might happen later. I don't know. I have to see how it plays, I guess. I mean, of course, not financial advice.
Yeah, we need to put a little nerd girl counter up in the corner of my screen because I'm going to mention her again. But it's like from early on, she talked about 90-10. I believe it was 90-10, which was 90% stake, 10% liquid at all times. Just so you have that option, right? If something goes bonkers, and that's a smart way to do it, man. Because it's like, I mean, I had a fair amount liquid at the top, but I didn't need the money at the time. I was waiting on the PulseChain copy. There were a lot of factors that were in that for me to throw it out. Several years to fill a gap in my staking ladder. And it's like, and looking at the yield on that stake alone, I do not regret it in the slightest, So, hindsight's 2020, nobody has a crystal ball. If I knew now what I knew then, it's like, obviously I could have done way better to liquidate some of that and then buy the lows, 2 years later. But, at the time with the information I had, I'm very confident and comfortable in my decision. And I think it's going to pay dividends. I mean, it already is.
You want to do a round table on this question?
Sure.
Toby,
$100. I do not.
Well, that's quite succinct. Why not, Toby? Why can you explain?
Well, in the next 4 years, we're not in the next bull cycle yet. So I think maybe by the top of the next bull cycle, something like that could happen. So if you spread that out to 5 years, I would be a little less succinct in my dismissal. I don't think we get here in this bull run. I don't think it's realistic. I mean, you got to realize that like on EHEX, like 5x gets us to a penny, right? We're below a penny now on PHEX. And, so, you need what, a 12 or 14x to get to 10 cents on the PHEX side. I think that's highly likely that we would get to 10 cents, maybe like 10 cents, 2 cents, like if the ratio holds. I think that's highly likely. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that combined value of the two hexes gets us to all-time high, which is what, 52 cents. So, if we're maintaining that 5-to-1 ratio, then it might be, 40 cents, 10 cents, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know about 4 years exactly on the dot. I think, like you said, it can go to $100. X could definitely go to $100 in my mind, but that's only one scenario, right? I mean, there's a lot of other scenarios where it doesn't go to $100. But what I mean is, I can conceive a series of events that could create things like $100 hacks, right? And by the way, that's about a 10,000x from here. So there's some confluence to that number. But listen, if it happens, it's great. But I'm more myself planning on what happens when it's at a penny or 10 cents or 20 cents. That's what I'm planning for. The rest is gravy. In terms of that. But yeah.
And we've seen it already. I think there's going to be all of this other stuff that we've watched that people are so excited to talk about, and it has been fun, and I've dabbled in some of these other things, and that are, it's boring, right? It's like if Hex is down and sideways, you got this other thing that's entertaining and actually making some money. It's like, yeah, I get the attraction, but we've already seen it time and again, even in those little pumps that we've got on PulseChain assets. What happens to all that other stuff? Everybody floods back over. Everybody comes and chases the green candles and the RH tokens. So like when the real pump starts, if all that economic energy floods back in and outside retail investors start coming in, then yeah, I mean, it can do numbers that seem absurd.
And like you were saying, things are transitory when we get to the top, meaning things are going to move pretty fast as we get closer to the top. There's also a scenario that Axis has talked about. I've talked about it. You guys have probably talked about it too. Is the idea that, hey, you know what? Think about this. Me personally, put yourself in the position. You did really good with some tokens, right? Whatever they are in the RH system, and they went really high. Let's say you got your 77x per maybe some of the stuff that Seven says, right? So you got your 77x, right? We're at the peak of the market. You got whatever it is you're going to get out. And then you're sitting there looking at your bag of ink, and maybe you're looking at your bag of Pulse, and you're like, well, I want to put this to work for the next few years. Where are you putting it? Where are you going to put it? We know ink's going to come down, right? It's leverage. It's going to swing way low the other way. Where are you putting it? Well, a lot of people are going to choose X. And so and then that's going to create, so some people are already doing it. I don't know if you've been noticing the swaps, but there will become a period of time that, along with I believe this could happen, and it was again one of the scenarios, we're going to see rotation into Hex. But the thing is, Hex, at least from the mining perspective, is going to be a lot more sticky price-wise for a while. We'll have to see how it plays out. But yeah, I could definitely conceive that creating higher highs than you ever have thought of.
What about you, Maddie? Do you think it's realistic to see Hex going to $100 in the next 4 years? Why or why not?
That's fun. I don't entertain fun.
Yeah, $100 is bearish, crypto trucker.
But shout out to Crypto Trucker for having a vision. I mean, the real question is, if Hex went to $100, you would, like most people who are not staked, they wouldn't ever see that.
No.
Because they would sell it $1. They would sell it 10 cents. They would sell it 5 cents. So
$50.
Maybe.
Really, what you have to understand is that your human emotions are going to get in the way. And this is where Hex shines, because you can create a staking ladder. You can buy Maxi or Deci token. You can get great deals right now on Hex, on time locks. So yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. And shout out to a wild SJ for appearing here in the chat. Shout out to you.
Shout out to ASJ.
ASJ.
Wild SJ is bringing adoption in the real world, because she drives a bus all around the United States that's loaded with advertisements about PulseChain and Hex. Everywhere she stops, people ask her, "What's this?" And yeah,
She's a
really
driving
appreciate her.
billboard.
She puts on these meetups. PulseChainTour.com. Check it out. Thank you. Yeah, I
Thank you
use
for your
leave-in
service.
conditioner. It's dope.
Is it really made out of hemp?
No. It's a leave-in conditioner called Brocado. That's the biggest alpha. Like, you guys already heard that the Ethereum ETF, like, this is bigger than the Ethereum ETF alpha. Is like the hair alpha.
The hair alpha. Crypto and hair. Fused into one.
And,
hey, here's some
Bucky's.
Here's some crazy stuff for you. This is like totally outside of this. You know, a lot of us also forget in the whole PulseChain. So kind of like pivot a little bit. We think we know all. And so, you know, there's a lot of theories. I know you do, Briz. But we think we already have it all down. We know what's going to happen. Remember, there's some possibilities, you know, that can be coming. I mean, I don't know what's going to be happening, but listen, we had that AMM harvest bot, right? The AMM bot, right? Went around and harvested all those tokens. You know, a lot of those tokens is harvested are worth a lot now. I mean,
you're talking about the OA, the Genesis bot?
Yeah, well, yeah, whichever one you want to call it, but the yes, where they harvested, right? So
I haven't heard anybody talk about this. Please,
I'm talking about it right now, dude.
Drop it. Drop the alpha, please.
All right. Well, and this is just one of many possibilities. So I'm only throwing it out there. This is definitely brainstorming, kind of making shit up as we go. Well, we have farms. Wouldn't it be nice if we incentivize farms with things that are worth a lot on PulseChain? Got the tokens, right? I mean, a metered approach with somebody. So I'll give you an example. This is made up, guys. Though I like to see it. What if there was a PDI farm that paid out in PDI?
What do you mean? Possible? There's something like that, isn't there? It's Die Hard.
No, that's not really a farm, but that's a reflection token. Yeah. But
okay,
I like that. I like that idea. That's a pretty cool thought. I mean, that's kind of like a fantasy thought too. You just have enough diehard, you get enough.
But you're saying a situation where people suffer in permanent loss in order to earn tokens from the fixer bot. Is that what you're predicting?
Well, not necessarily. No, I didn't predict it. I'm saying there are different things that could be happening on PulseChain that we don't know about yet. Like what are all those tokens going to be used for? Are they always going to be kept in reserve? Are they going to be brought into liquidity at the right time? There's just, so again, the power of units are huge, and they could be used as rewards. I don't know what that might look like, but anyways, I would just say don't count out changes to what we think things are going to be like. That's all.
Yeah, lots of activity on the P copies lately. So it'll be interesting to see if there's something other than just, you know, people speculating afoot.
Yeah, it's fun stuff, man. I don't know. I like to see it all. I still remember Richard talking about things possibly having good values against each other. You know, I'm seeing tokens that have, of course, there's efforts to pump them up, and people are doing that and they're speculating. But that's regular crypto for sure. People do that kind of stuff, right? Why wouldn't they do it on PulseChain? That's how, like you had said earlier, Maddie, that's how value gets exchanged, right?
Yeah. I mean, so
thank you, Diehard.
I made a tweet on, well, May 2nd that said, what if you wake up one day and you see the top 1,000 tokens on ETH got flipped by their PRC20 copies? PulseChain is the land of opportunities. PulseChain is better than ETH. Full stop.
Full stop.
Yeah.
As RG3 would say, period. End of story.
Yeah. Well, and this whole theory, Briz, I think we've talked about this before on this channel, or I did it somewhere else. But we there's just so much that I can't, hard for me to get my head around it. But It does not, with the right liquidity setups, it does not take a lot of value to pump everything, because it's so tied. And I've been doing so much research into this thing, and what I've been seeing that, it's huge. And in our very simple examples where you got Pulse and, I make a Matty token, a new one, Matty. And I pair it up 1-to-1 with Pulse because I got enough Pulse and I got enough Matty, and I create a Toby and I do the same thing in a Briz
Slow
and a Crispy.
down.
And we have those 5 tokens. They're all 1-to-1. What happens when Pulse goes up on paper? Pulse
Hart's
doubles.
law happens.
All of these double. All of them.
Hart's
double.
law happens. Correct.
Hart's law. And so if it goes up 10x, they all 10x.
Are you spilling the game plan?
No, I'm not filling the game plan. But I mean, it's clear to me that can happen. So as we're looking, and you can see it in those P copies, the P copies that human beings didn't start messing around with, the charts look almost identical. Different numbers, but almost identical because they're tied. And why are they tied? Because they were tied before they came over. The LP came over with them, and not only just on maybe possibly on the PulseX. PulseX may have been added, but the Uniswap that's out there, right? There's a Uniswap running on PulseChain. Some people use it, right?
There's a Uniswap protocol.
There's a fork of Uniswap, of course. Everything got forked.
Like we're talking PulseX or something else.
No, you go to Uniswap. If you know how to get to it, you can go to Uniswap on PulseChain and do V3, V2. Sorry guys, I don't mean to put out bad information. You have to go do your own research, but you can go set liquidity positions, and they get a pretty good amount of volume. Is as good as some of the other stuff? No. PulseX is pretty much the leader for that. But the point is there's liquidity out there, and more importantly, even though maybe we as users don't go to it, the stupid bots know it's there, so they go do it. They use it, because they're smart enough to go find them. And anyways, there's just so much we don't know. This is like a undiscovered continent.
I dig it.
And there's so many things happening under the covers. I mean, like I joke a couple times about, hey, if we all got raptured, for the sake of another word, PulseX would be trading still. It probably would keep trading. It just needs one thing, one person left to push a button. The whole thing would trade.
I'd be like, hey, where'd everyone go?
I'd be like, where is it? Hey, Bruce is buying. Bruce, stop recycling that. Yeah. Recycling the LP.
Well, shout out to ChrispyMan for making this point about the fixer bot that we've forgotten about. We haven't talked about this in many moons.
Remember the theory that everybody was going to get a giant airdrop? Remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
Biggest
the world's largest.
Yeah. Yep.
Jinx.
And if you recall early on, that was a big speculative play conversation, which of the P copies would be likely that those communities or devs would.
Why did I sell my P die? The tears are rolling down my face.
Yeah, right.
Why did I sell my P die?
Well,
no, seriously.
The thinking was, because it's like I accidentally had like 12, maybe $100, $120, something like that. I can't remember, in USDC. So I ended up with that amount of PUSDC, which I didn't even realize until like months later. I'm like, oh, hey, wait a minute. And noticed it was moving a little bit. I'm like, that's curious. And then I noticed it was moving very similarly to PDI. And then I started looking at the other stables and saw that their charts were all almost identical. And then you can look at some of the other the P copies, excuse me. And, that was one of the talks early on, like, hey, which community has become effectively useless on Ethereum because of gas fees that could potentially have a second chance over on PulseChain? Maybe those would be good copies to pick up, right? Or things like Aave or Synthetics, or there are all kinds of ones that were being bantered about. Maker, at the time, if anyone remembers, the stable seemed highly, highly risky, because the idea was Circle could come over and just turn off the admin keys for it and make it useless, right? For USDC.
Right.
And so that was kind of the thing. Like, do you really want your money in stables for the copy? And the answer was no. And then when the question was, well, should I buy them for fractions of a penny on the dollar? The answer was also probably not, right? That was kind of the general vibe. And then over time that changed, obviously, with the, the PDI narrative, and, and they've got a very active community with a lot of conviction, and, crazier things have happened. So, I mean, I would not be shocked to see it go to $1. I don't see how it stays there. I mean, it could easily go above it. I mean, because it's like, but there's definitely some interesting stuff afoot with a lot of the P copies. And I think that will get attention, because think about it. Like if you had a bunch of Aave or a bunch of Link or whatever, and there's the P copies originally, even if you knew about them, weren't worth anything. But now all of a sudden it starts to work its way up to where it's like, oh, that's actually a fair amount of money, right? So there you go, P dot to 1,000. So
Fast Abdul already, he's beat you to it.
There it is.
So
yeah.
So Tobiwan, let's play a game. Let's do some trivia. So
sure.
Which Hexagon met Vitalik's mom in a bathroom?
Nerd Girl.
All right, I'm gonna have to edit your name now. I'm gonna have to edit it.
Yeah, right. you gotta.
Which crypto,
well, I mean, you said a bathroom, so I figured it had to be a girl, and that was the first one that popped.
Which crypto DeFi investor worked as a war correspondent during her master's degree?
Nerd Girl. You're just trying to run my numbers up, bro.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to change your name now. I'm sorry.
I'm being set up.
You started this. All right, you're up to 7. That's pretty good.
That's it. Okay, that's a lucky 7. Let's stop it there, hopefully.
007.
For her sake and mine. Yeah.
You won. You won the trivia.
Hey. It's like around the blockchain, right? We get scores.
I don't really give 2px.
Hey, I heard that there's like a giveaway happening. Do you want to plug that?
Yeah, man. It's pretty substantial too. Yeah.
For 2p hucks.
Well,
yeah.
Do you want to break it down, ChrispyMan?
Yeah, I may not get it accurately enough. You have to go get the proper information from Fast Abdul and the 2p hucks guys, but they're doing a I guess you would call it a sacrifice. Ends Friday. There should be a stream tomorrow with Access Live going over it.
Didn't his sacrifice already happen? So how's this different? Yeah, his sacrifice already finished. So
there's 2 different things going on, and I kind of caught me unaware, but I did mention 2p hucks, so I just don't want to give any bad information out. There should be a stream tomorrow going over in detail.
Awesome.
And in a moment I'll pull up the actual information that I have on this and get it back to you. But there is something that is closing this Friday, and people who are going into that, and I thought it was a sacrifice, though much like earlier, I'm not sure. So I'll get that. And as part of that, they're getting people who are participating. I believe the top 50 spots are getting an allocation of Axis, SolidX, Nope, Fire token.
Wow.
As part of that, as part of the reward, along with what they get.
I almost did my sacrifice that way, so that's cool. I respect
it's kind
the
of a
hustle.
neat idea.
And I've dropped Fast Abdul's X account here, his Twitter, to hopefully direct people to the right place.
Yeah, and since you brought it up, now I'm going to make sure I get the actual announcement, because I don't want to misstate anything here, But like I said, I know Axis is planning a stream, maybe tomorrow, the day after, or something. That'll be going over into the detail of it. You should have those guys on sometime. That'd be pretty cool.
I did a stream with Fast Abdul and RH Max in the days leading up to the PulseChain conference. So this might have only been like 2 weeks ago. And Fast Abdul, he's great. I really respect him, and I'd love to have him on the show.
Ethereum's at 3,800, boys.
Shut up. Do I need to FOMO buy now?
It's happening.
Richard bought it, 3,500?
4.
34?
He's in profit.
4,000.
4,000. Yeah. He's just almost breaking.
The OA bought it $4,000 Ethereum?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's like 39 something. Yes.
I don't think that. I've seen tweets that it's in profit.
He's a
Are
top
those
buyer.
people lying?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably.
You guys talking about Justin's son that bought higher?
No.
He copy traded Richard.
Justin's son is the one that bought it lower. Justin's son's the one that bought it at like 3,200.
I dropped the link to Fastabul's specific tweet.
Not gonna lie.
They do call it a sacrifice. They are calling it a sacrifice that ends Friday. I should be more confident. I knew that, but you threw me off my game by claiming it. I was wrong.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
That's all right. It's all good. It's all good. Just want to get it out too. But it's pretty cool what they're doing. I'm sorry, Briz, I interrupted you. Bitcoin to 90,000, 90K.
I'm gonna need some on-chain references to what price the OA bought Ethereum at, because I don't believe
I thought it was around 3,900.
I just remember it being 4,000, and everyone's like, "Richard bought the top. He's such an idiot."
Yeah, that's Sami.
But the PDI guys think that it was like to get the S die, and because the thing was like Richard had a whole bunch of die, and then the guys doing a die were like, if you want S die, you need to get die, and here comes Richard with all his die, and they're like, oh no, actually you need to buy Ethereum. So supposedly the OA bought Ethereum, was at $4,000, and
all right, I'm sharing my screen here. We have Money Gang Crypto reporting Richard Hart's Ethereum position is back in profit at 3,700. So you guys are gonna have to convince me otherwise.
Well, what price did he buy it at? Where's the proof he bought it? Where's the proof it's in profit other than him tweeting that?
Show me the on-chain data.
Okay, I can't do it right now, but I will.
Is this the real Molly investor? Yo, what's up?
Might be.
Welcome back.
This is the internet. I can't be sure.
He says OBX is right, and OBX says 3,750.
So all I have to do is talk about the OA, and Molly the investor, he's gonna show up in the
he just appears. He just like oh, he just falls out of the sky.
Yeah, I love it.
with
Molly
the answer.
Investor appears.
we finally said something that made sense to him.
All right, it's an imposter. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry.
Okay, good to know.
That's all right. Yeah. Well, listen, I always thought I don't know why people get so bent out of shape in one direction or another. If I'm managing a large quantity of value or money, which I feel like I am, right, with what I'm doing for myself, you don't always take the most riskiest plays. And so, ETH coming up and seeming to confirm, you took a bet. Maybe there's some other things going on like S die, maybe it's wild die. I don't know. Maybe there's this other stuff going on too. But he took a trade.
You want to break this down?
What's that?
So like, what was the price of Ethereum when the sacrifice funds were collected in the first place?
I don't know, man. What was it?
Wasn't it 4,000, 4,500, somewhere in there? Wasn't it near the top?
Yeah, pretty good.
So, I mean, if I'm the OA and I have, I don't know, like $600 million to play around with, and like I'm judging the legal aspects of everything, I'm assembling the world's greatest team of lawyers. I have an entire crypto army of DeFi people who are true to the cause and they have no expectations. I might FOMO buy Ethereum before it goes higher than the price that that average person had a sack rate at.
Was this really FOMO? Anyways, I just kind of go back to like, I don't know, man. And of course, I'm not the best trader kind of person either, right? So, but my understanding is I'm watching the chart, I'm looking at it, I'm analyzing it, and I'm looking at like, okay, it looks like it's off the bottom, and it's likely over time it's going to go up and to the right. Sure, there's going to be more volatility and dips, right? I mean,
I thought it was pretty interesting that the OA bought $600 million of Ethereum, and BlackRock put in only 100 million into USDC. It almost feels like to me that like when the OA got in there at 3,700, it was like the powers that be were like, oh no, this is not good. We got to shake them out. And they bring down the price down to 3,000, and they leave it there for months. And now they're like, he's not leaving, guys. All right, bring the price back up.
I guess we're playing. I guess we're all going forward together. We're all playing together.
Yep.
And what were the dates for the Pulse sacrifice? And I can tell you what the ETH. I've got the ETH chart up.
Well, the PulseChain sacrifice was July. I think it was around July 14th because
yeah,
that's
July
when we had the first
21.
PulseChain conference. Was on the anniversary of the sacrifice.
So in that case, we'd actually topped out on Ethereum at around 4,400 in May 10th of 2021, and then by July 12th, we were down to about 1,800.
Okay, of 21.
21.
I don't remember it that way, Toby. You must be wrong about this.
I'm looking at ETH USD on the weekly.
No, I'm sure
in 2021.
It came down and it topped again in the.
Yeah, it came back up in November and it topped at 4,700.
But isn't it funny how our memories are? Like I wouldn't remember it that way either. I don't remember it that way, Maddie. I remember. Going up to 4,000 and then almost 5,000.
That's why it's a theory gang, because like it's just the theory that like that the OA would like buy before it's gone past the average point where people were sacrificing, no expectations.
Hey, listen, when we see ETH at 20,000, everybody's going to give a crap whether or not he bought it at 3,700 or 3,200.
Yeah, right.
I could see it going to 16K.
Yeah, it's in the realm of possibility, sure.
And I want to also emphasize the fact that Justin Sun bought a similar amount of Ethereum around the same time as the OA. So you had Justin Sun buying, I don't know, like 100,000, 150,000 Ethereum, somewhere around there.
I think didn't somebody suspect him of being the OA? I mean, not the OA, but the Godwell.
What?
Didn't somebody say that once?
I don't know.
That. I recall that.
That'd be.
I think Maddie must be the Godwell then. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not. But I mean, the Godwell did donate to the Hex badge and PulseChain badge effort on Twitter, and that's what's really, that's gotten our community twice the organic reach that we had. I mean, it's incredible. It's a win for the ages. So shout out to Godwell, respect.
Absolutely.
And, all the whales that are out here supporting the streamers, supporting the builders, supporting the price.
I mean, it's ecosystem.
Yeah, it's really a big deal. I think that we have better whales, except for Nick Cherry. I think we have better whales. And Rackham, he's in the middle, but we have better whales on average than any other coin, and that's going to show itself here. I think that people are in PulseChain, the big players, not to extract value only, but to prove their belief in something and to see something grow that's never happened before. I think that this is real crypto.
We have better whales and nicer sharks.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but
come on.
Steely-eyed killers of the deep.
It's sharks are, they're misunderstood. Let's say.
Yes, that's right. Misunderstood.
We love the sharks that also support the ecosystem, and there are whales and sharks that can do better. So, follow the lead there.
I think, Maddie, you should produce some content that specifically addresses sharks and whales. I mean, perhaps this is it, but you got to remember, a lot of folks just came into this and they don't necessarily have the cycles under them to understand everything and how it works. And a lot of the things that people think is bad acting might just be mistakes, right? People not understanding what they need to do or how to do it. There's all this learning that's going on, and then there are things that are also just need to be done, in order to support the market. And it's hard you can't talk about them if somebody's making the market. I mean, it's just all these things that go on. Anyways, I think they get a bad rep. I think that, like you said, most of the people supporting, well, if they're supporting, they're probably doing really good for the community, because the ones that aren't supporting are the ones that are just jumping.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and there are people I really admire out there, whether they're just on chain or they've started to participate more than that, and they're doing the right thing by the community. They're not here to just perpetually dump. They have a bigger vision of what crypto can be. Shout out to the real ones.
Highlight Relaxed Finance's comment, because it's like the complete opposite of what we're saying. But I think he deserves, or she deserves, to be acknowledged, right? Because right, those aren't the whales we're talking. Those aren't the whales we're looking.
Those aren't the whales you're looking for.
We're talking about the other ones. I got to tell you, I think that for every one of them, there's also others waiting and biding their time. We just, this comment was just made a few minutes ago about, others like BlackRock potentially waiting to see if Richard gets shook out, right? Well, why is that so believable? But that sharks wouldn't do it with tokens. They do it, or whales, they do the same thing. So let's see who gets shook out and then what happens. I guess the proof will be in the pudding when we get to 10,000 next.
The criteria or the judgment from me, whether a whale is the worst or the best, doesn't depend on the people who showed up the most recently to their bags to get pumped and them to be able to exit the soonest.
Yeah.
Right. And so we really have to remember that you have to put in your time, and there are no expectations. The volatility in crypto is what creates the gains. And so people who are blaming the whales for things, there's a bit of truth in that with some whales. Like, we discovered on chain that Nick Cherry, an employee of Coinbase, extracted $13 million from Hex and PulseChain by being an early adopter, and never did anything, as far as we can tell, to benefit the community, to benefit the chain.
Is that a real name?
I looked into it.
Something.
No, I looked into it. So the original, so Sami was reporting he gives everybody a nickname who blocks him or who is a bad actor, and he gave this person the name of Dick Cherry. But then when I followed the evidence that he posted, it showed that there was some docs, like this particular person himself doxed his own address by posting on Twitter. And that led to the Chainalysis that allowed people to see that it was this person who's known to work at Coinbase named Nick Cherry, who is the person who's extracted $13 million from Hex and PulseChain without ever giving back to the community, as far as we can tell. And
I've never seen a live stream from him.
And of course, it's not required to dox yourself or to live stream if you're wanting to participate, but we are spoiled in the fact that many of the whales and the Poseidons and the sharks and the dolphins and the squids. There are many people in Hex that show their faces. They create live streams. They go above and beyond what any other crypto community is willing to do. And it's not just like 10% more. It's like 10x more participation. And when the price goes down, that's where you see the true heroes emerge. And we've seen it now, that there are people who they're not here only for price. Price is great, but they're here to have a bigger vision of what crypto can be. And look, the average whale can't extract all their value. That's what makes them somebody who holds in between 1% and 10% of the supply.
No whale, by definition, can extract all their value.
The average LP for a token is about 5% of the token supply. And so the fact that somebody's a whale, yeah, they could dump the price down. And you see that in a lot of tokens. However, again, I would say in Hex and PulseChain, we see the God Whale donating to 2x the reach of 70 different people on crypto Twitter that are making a huge difference by speaking at the PulseChain conferences.
And it's not just a little bit of money that he donated.
Toby and I both jumped in and supported too. I just want to say that.
There were, it was the reason that the God Whale donated was because so many people themselves were donating to this. So it was like a matched funds situation. That if you all hadn't paid your own way, there wouldn't have been a way to pay the rest of it. And so that's a really big deal. I don't see any other cryptos that have 70 verified affiliates because there aren't. There is no DeFi community that has 70 badges on PulseChain. And so having the worst whales, it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of how long you've been involved here. And I feel for people who, they bought the top. However, I would point out that almost everybody in crypto bought the top on their first cycle. And it's those of us who stuck around and DCA'd and who contributed were the ones who are benefiting from multiple cycles. So
there's a famous quote from someone, I think her name is Marilyn Monero, and she says if you can't handle her at her lows, you don't deserve her at her highs.
Ooh, I love that. Somebody clip that.
And now the biz with Briz.
You guys are incredible. I appreciate your contribution to the show. We have exceeded our time expectation. And so I hope everybody's hitting the like and subscribe button, not only on this stream, but they're clicking in the description below. They're following Tobiwan Hexobi on Twitter and YouTube, Brisology on Twitter and YouTube, ChrispyMan, hexfire.io on all platforms, YouTube, website, Twitter, etc. What are you guys looking forward to in the next week?
I would just like to end the show with just a little bit of alpha. I got a little bit of shampoo alpha for you guys.
Oh,
more
this guy right here.
Is that him?
Zoral. Actually, I learned about this from the Hex community years ago.
Oh, wow.
But it's an anti-dandruff shampoo, but it has 1% ketoconazole. 1%, so it's over the counter.
Delicious.
2% requires prescription, but this is anti-dandruff. But the off-shelf use is it actually helps regrow hair.
What,
dude?
Yep. Send me a case.
Is that from Turkey?
You can find this on Amazon all day long.
Amazon.
When are you creating the coin for it, though, dude?
Ketoconazole.
Ketamine shampoo. Got it.
All right. We've got Brisology's final words. Tobiwan.
Pleasure is always being here. I'm excited to see the furthering of this narrative over the ETH ETF being approved. we should hear about this soon, right? Is that next week?
Respect.
Yeah,
this week or next week. This week or next week.
And then also the acts that are being put before Congress. And it'll be exciting to see how those things play out. So some definitely pivotal times we are in.
And a great call to action from Tobiwan earlier in the stream.
Find out who your congressman is.
Replay gang.
Call him up.
Call him.
Kaiser, clip that.
And ChrispyMan, final thoughts.
Well, since we brought it up here, guys, go check out the TP the 2P Hux announcements of what's going on this week. Also, I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I'm hearing lots of rumors about things coming around for the Solid Index. I know some of you guys are aware of that out there. And then otherwise, man, I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm chasing those information-wise, AP-wise on the LPs, man. And a big shout out. And I'll tell you why I'm going to say this. I did something called Spot APYs, where I watch what's happening on all these pairs on PulseChain, which ones are earning the most. It really tells the tale, what's happening and within the system. So shout out to that Tang gang. So if you guys, they're killing it with generating some pretty high APYs on a daily basis. So yeah, you might listen to some of the things they say and judge for yourself.
And my final word is that now is the last chance to get the free claim that I'm offering. And
I thought you said it was over.
Yeah.
Well, that's the sacrifice that's over. The sacrifice is over.
This isn't the sacrifice, it's a different name. Okay.
This is a free claim. This is to measure whether you are willing to participate in true crypto. And the way to participate is by giving me a fresh wallet address posted on Twitter. The sacrifice is over, people. There's no more.
I checked my wallet. There's nothing in it.
Do these free claims dilute my sacrifice?
You have no expectations.
True.
You sacrificed and you get nothing. The free claim is what's happening right now.
Will you be connecting the free claim with my sacrifice address?
This is a fresh address that you're giving for the free claim. And there have been, look, guys, there have been in between 1,100 and 1,300 people that have participated so far.
That's a lot of people. Yeah.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
And yet, out of 8 billion, it's practically nothing.
I'm glad you have such high hopes. So,
I'm just
last
saying,
chance.
Room to grow.
Yes.
Go to the tweet, drop a fresh wallet address, or forever hold your peace. So, with that being said, thank you all for watching another great episode. And until next time, I better upload the thumbnail so I can load that. That's right. Let's see.
Did we actually go into ending this, or are we still going? Oh, here we go.
We're still going.
There, we're still still live.
Canapes.
Episode 113.
Good night, John Boy.
Oh, this is bothersome. Like, 43 OG.
ETF. Check
Sandy
mark.
Beach. Hey, Wild SJ. Drix. Fast. Got to do the P.
Those are coming.